Uprising continued to surge with the 4-0 victory over the Dallas Fuel. And guys, they're just 2 wins away from being the first team to have a perfect stage in the Overwatch League. That's pretty huge right there. We'll see if they can do it later on. But moving along to our next match of the day, we have the Houston Outlaws going up against the LA Gladiators. These two teams are very identical in a few ways. They're both 4-3 so far in this stage, fighting for that 4th place spot in the Stage 3 standings. Both of these teams had big wins earlier this week. The Houston Outlaws took out the LA Valiant, and the Gladiators took out the London Spitfire. And these teams are evenly split so far in their season series. They both won a game apiece. So this is a bit of a tiebreaker, a bit of a heat check for both teams. And I think it's going to be a throwdown. Also, there's a whole lot of Gladiators and Houston Outlaws fans here at the Blizzard Arena, am I right? And they're ready to get this thing started. So am I. I'm ready for the throwdown, so let's go ahead and send it over to Puckett and the boys at the desk. Take it away, guys.
Thank you so much, Malik. Make some noise, Blizzard Arena. We got 2 more matches to go today, and this is a great one. We're about to see the Gladiators, who are coming off a big victory over the London Spitfire, taking on a very tough Outlaw squad that is always ready to go the distance to a Game 5. We got Bren, we've got Sideshow once again, and we got to talk about the Stage 3 playoff implications of this match, because this series is so important for both teams.
Yeah, both teams are neck and neck currently in these Stage 3 standings. They're sat right next to each other roughly in that 4th and 5th position, so this is a match that matters for them. They are equal in terms of the wins and losses. The winner of this is going to have a significantly easier time trying to make those playoffs later next week.
We have a really weird middle of the pack as well. Given how good Boston and New York have been, it's an incredibly tight race all the way from 3rd down to, honestly, 7th to try and get into those last 2 spots for the Stage 3 playoffs. I've no idea who's going to make it, but this game gives whatever team wins a massive advantage.
The Gladiators have been putting on a show recently. If you watch the Battle for LA, that one went the distance against the Valiant. They went the distance against the Spitfire. And this series today has a lot of history. The Gladiators and the Outlaws have matched up twice so far throughout the regular season. They're tied 1-1, Bren.
Yeah, Gladiators won the last outing between these 2 teams, and it went to a best of 5, all the way to the map 5. Gladiators ended up taking it, so Houston, again, they're going to be coming into this game looking for revenge, looking for the win, again, to solidify their stage playoffs standings, at least a chance for them, but also for that revenge aspect as well.
And in that Game 5, you saw the crazy Ilios situation where Chaz was on Tracer and stuff.
Ridiculous.
But throughout the course of the entire series, really, it was more about how the Widowmaker was working, I think. And you've got Surefall going up against Lynxer, 2 titans on the Widowmaker, and Fisher on the LA Gladiators called Surefall the best Widowmaker in the league. At some point, Lynxer has been up there in the same kind of conversation. So I think when you look at the maps that are being played today, Volskaya, a ton of Widowmaker always gets played there. Ilios, Ruins is the Widowmaker map, and then Route 66, where almost all teams are playing that Widowmaker Tracer style. So both the LA Gladiators and the Houston Outlaws are going to be vying for those first picks in the team fights. And you can see here that Surefall is actually putting up very reasonable numbers here. In that Widowmaker dual KD, he's killing enemy Widowmakers far more than he dies himself. Whereas Lynxer at the moment in a little bit of a slump, I would say, despite putting up more eliminations overall.
And you can see, yeah, the big limbs coming from Lynxer. Will he be able to keep pace with Surefall today? That's the big question for me. We talked about the maps right there, how crucial Widow is going to be. When you look at the team's records, how are they faring on the 4 we'll see today, Brent?
This is so odd to me because we have historical data for both these teams, and it should tell a clear story as to how this match is going to go. They're split evenly almost on Volskaya. Outlaws have an advantage when it comes to Ilios and Numbani, and of course, Outlaws are not too good on Route 66. However, if you look in recent times, Gladiators and Houston have not won Numbani in this stage. So realistically, this match is going all over the place, making it very hard to predict where it's going to be going. And I feel like a lot of it is going to be put onto this first match on Volskaya. That's going to be a tell of which way this series is going to go overall.
Josh, I love it. You saw 1-6 overall record on Numbani for the Gladiators, 1-6 overall record in Game 4 on Route 66 for the Outlaws. So how does this one play out today? Let's get the official prediction starting with you.
This one is so difficult. I went back and forth on this prediction for a while, but the way I think it's going to play out is I think Gladiators have the advantage on Volskaya. I think they're going to be able to take it there, and that I think is going to carry them forwards. And Oasis, if we get to it, I think their advantage. So I'm going with the LA Gladiators for this pick here. I think they're going to be able to take it. Could be a 5-mapper. Like the Houston Outlaws will give them a tough opposition.
Really? Really, Gladiators? I just saw a man in a beret snap his fingers in agreement with Josh. We clap here in Esports. Do we have any Gladiator fans out there today? We're in Los Angeles. Thank
prediction? That's
What?
what I want to know.
What?
Where were they then? But no, we're going to get into my prediction now, because this is realistically what matters here. And you say you think Gladiators have the advantage on Volskaya. Well, I personally feel like Houston are going to have the advantage because of the way they've been playing with Fact Fiction recently. Recent addition to Houston, he's added a lot more variability in the way they play this particular map and other maps whenever they try and field him. So that is going to be my prediction today. Houston Outlaws are going to be taking it. Again, I agree, very 50-50 split on this one. I feel like it can go either way, but that's where my heart is currently leaning towards the side of the green wall.
All right, guys, we'll get into it. Get some caffeine, Blizzard Arena, because we got an awesome match coming your way. You're going to make all kinds of noise because it's time to meet your teams. Please welcome to the stage first, your Los Angeles Gladiators. 14-13 overall, 4-3 in stage 3, and today their playoff hopes are on the line.
Given the roster that these guys are fielding, I don't know whether we're going to be seeing that much of hydration. The map pool is just so favored towards Shofor's Widowmaker. He has to be the star player today, and Fisher's going to be looking to lead the team to another victory. They already had such a great performance earlier in the week against the London Spitfire. I'm slightly concerned they might have put too much prep time into that and not focus on the Houston Outlaws, but I'm going to have faith in their coaches. I think they'll have split the time evenly.
That's very kind of you, John.
It
well
is.
done. And I like that you mentioned Shofor as well, because this is a guy who has constantly impressed me as the season's gone on, mainly because of how proficient he is on multiple heroes. Like, Shofor has an unbelievably large hero pool, yet he can still play them to an extremely high level, especially his Widowmaker,
That's him
which I
playing
know for a
Tracer.
fact. Yeah, that's him. Okay, apparently so. Or possibly even McCree, except McCree doesn't dual wield.
McCree doesn't have two builds.
My bad, I don't play Overwatch, I just stay on the desk. But again, it's Shofor really is the star of this team, and it's the Widowmaker that he has stepped up tremendously. As far as I know, it was actually Fisher saying, Shofor, you're bad at Widowmate, what's going on? Step it up. And he has stepped it up a lot in this stage, and now is in the runnings for one of the best Widowmakers in the season, in the stage, and the whole league as a whole.
Keep your eyes on the Canadian Shorefor trying to lead his team to victory. They've been to Game 5 4 times in a row. Will it go the distance once again? We'll find out as we introduce our second team to the stage. Please give it up for the Houston Outlaws. Houston, one of the biggest fan favorites in the Overwatch League. They had sold out signing when they went all over Texas in between stages. This team's constantly marketing, but when they're not marketing themselves, when they're not doing interviews on national television, they've been grinding.
Yeah, absolutely. And one player in particular who has been grinding is Jake. We didn't really mention him in the pre-show, but he has been working on heroes that he's not too great at, the Tracer, among other roles as well. So he's really trying to really solidify the rest of his hero pool so he can bring the rest of his team's level up to a certain degree. Because this is also a squad that do rely quite a lot on Jake as that sort of team leader, that one role position they sort of lean on and look towards for a lot of advice during the games, a lot of the shot calling capabilities as well.
And you see Big Russ, aka Fact Fiction, is back in action today on Volskaya. How many maps do you think you'll use Fact today?
I think that they'll just plug him in for Volskaya. They have been running him a little bit. I think it's on Route 66 as well, so perhaps he gets 2 maps today. But he plays a little more with the team. He helps them execute dives, syncs up fairly well with Jake on his new role on Tracer.
He knows what he's doing.
It bothers me that he knows he's so handsome. You know, that's the real problem.
It does, yeah. It kills me. The kind of pride is unreal.
I love the raucous man bun, ready for his soccer match after this series. You guys ready to go? We got all 12 players on this stage. 4 maps coming your way. It all starts right now. Bringing you the action. We got your casters. It's Monty with Doa.
Thank you, Puckett. That's right. Our second match of the day, it's going to be the LA Gladiators taking on the Houston Outlaws. Monty has jazz hands already, so he's very excited.
For the second match of the day.
That's not the response I was expecting.
Well, you never expect
usually you
jazz
say
hands.
something very insightful and critical, but today it's just jazz hands, I
Well,
guess.
I
That's
agree.
right.
I agree with the desk. I am excited by this match because I don't
be
really
fun.
know how it's going to go either.
No.
Because a lot of what I'm thinking is that we've seen the Houston Outlaws do very well on the other set of maps, but there are also intangibles there, such as how they were managing their ult economy very efficiently, that could translate over to their weaker map set. Obviously, Fact Fiction's back in. He's actually been doing great things for them on the dive when they run the Tracer-Genji combination. So even though it's a bad map pool, I think Houston still has a shot. Gladiators, however, coming off a strong win over London, but they did lose on London versus on Ilios and Route 66. So
that is true.
It really is, I think, difficult to predict how this matchup is going to go.
I mean, it's like the desk said. Usually when you look at the map pool for a given match, you can kind of look at the results, look at the recent history, and be like, all right, I kind of can predict where this is going to go performance-wise, but today you really can't. So this could be very close. It could be a one-sided blowout. We just really have no idea.
And there were a lot of factors, too, for the Gladiators in their last match, such as Surefour getting monstrously pocketed, and he was hitting his shots, had a great series against London, but some of those factors were because he wasn't getting pressured at all. And we know that on attack on this map that we've seen the Houston Outlaws like to play that dive. They will get in Surefour's face, and I think they'll provide more pressure. So is he going to have that same big Widow performance? I think it's going to be a lot harder for him today.
Probably. Well, getting things started here on Volskaya Industries, Houston Outlaws on the defense, LA Gladiators on the offense. Both of these teams, I believe, 4-3 in the standings right now, so the hunt for the playoff spot continues. Both of these teams really need to win today.
They absolutely do. Neither would be technically out, but it would make that road a lot harder.
Right. It's actually surprising how... Oh, went for that sleep dart. So there's been so many divas just kind of checking and poking early in the match on the defensive side. People have started to try to run that Ana just to see if you can sleep the diva and maybe get an early DMEC.
If you get that kill that early into the match, you're going to have a huge advantage that you can snowball in.
Oh, yeah, totally.
We saw how fast the Gladiators snowballed against London on Volskaya earlier this week by picking off Bedosian right at the beginning of point A. Not going to happen here. Surefour is playing the low ground. Jake is behind him now. Jake is in this room.
Jake is right behind you. Bonnie down, though. In fact, both Mercies taken out. Meanwhile, the duel continues here. Jake fighting out with Surefour. SMG versus double, I don't know, little pew-pew gun. I'm not sure what that one's called. Surefour on the run, though. Bishu gets Raucus and Linkser, though. They finally track down Surefour, but it's cost them quite a bit.
That took a lot longer to kill Surefour than the Houston Outlaws would have liked, and now it's only Jake and Coolmat on the point.
Well, that's the thing, is that while that duel was happening, Houston was kind of getting wrecked by the Gladiators. The rest of them anyway, and that's going to be point A taken already.
Well, it took too many of the Outlaws to actually pin Surefour down. Had it been just Jake devoted to running that interference, it would have been fine, but the Outlaws sent in Coolmat and sent in back Fiction, who was on the flank.
Right.
And had already been chunked out, so big problems for the Outlaws. They have an infra site. That's about it. Shaz will be coming into point B with his ultimate already charged.
And Bishu poking a little bit here. He's going to get some damage done to get out. Getting closer to his ultimate, too. Shaz with the Transcendence. Looks like Raucus is a ways away from his. Bonnie close to the Valkyrie here. We'll see.
Just a poke war right now. Neither team feels like they have the necessary tools to
it's a stick.
throw in on this. That is a stick, but it's not a death.
Yeah, that's right. Asher, though, he does die, and that's going to be a self-destruct from Coolmat. Doesn't get back in the mech, though. And now it's getting a little bit tricky for Houston. They've got 2 kills for Shaz already, and he's going to pop the Transcendence to come in and try to carry this team through in the fight. Fissure with the Primal Rage now trying to zone Houston out. He's got him bottled up in that room here. Not a tick taken quite yet for the LA Gladiators. They're still fighting for it. Ooh, there's a big one. Raucus and Bonnie both down. The Gladiators with a chance here to try to get a bit more. They've got control of the point, but can they keep it?
Coolmat going to be cut down pretty quickly here. Banny needs to get back onto this point with that Valkyrie. Can't even make it in time. Does pop the Valk, but there's nobody there. Going to delay it, but he's just flying really around with his blaster.
He lived longer than anyone I think could have expected on that Mercy. Links are down, but that's going to be it. So Gladiators do take 2 points. 5:09 in the time bank. That's a lot of time left.
They've had 2 time banks now this week on Volskaya at over 5 minutes. They have really executed well on these assault maps. And even if we look at their overall score, sure, they're 5-2 and 1 tie on this map. But in this stage, they're 6-1 on assault. So they have been fantastic. This has been their best map type in stage 3. And they show why again here. Clean execution.
Absolutely. Shaz getting a couple nice picks at the beginning of that fight on point B to kind of unlock the man advantage for Gladiators. Now it's all about the defense. So we'll see if Houston can equalize. We talked a little bit about what Fact Fiction brings in terms of the aggressiveness for this team.
He does, I think, enable them to dive a bit harder. He is more selfless, I think, than Muma. He will intentionally die in order to win a fight or to help his teammates trade favorably. And that is something that he brings to the table here for the Houston Outlaws. And Jake going to be on the Tracer. They may run the Tracer Widow on attack for point A.
That's right. So, Houston Outlaws with a pretty big task ahead of them to try to equalize this. That's a huge time bank for the Gladiators. It's not going to be easy, but, you know, again, this match, and especially on Volskaya, a big attack round like that doesn't necessarily mean it's over, right? We've seen this map go pretty deep in the past.
Yeah, and it also is, this is the map that I think the Gladiators have the biggest advantage on in this pool. And once we head into Numbani, which is the next map, I think that's where the Houston Outlaws can potentially pull away. So again, map by map, the team's strengths matter quite a bit.
It is their best win rate map in the map pool today for the Gladiators. They're at 63% on Volskaya. So they do win this one quite a bit. And here we go. Houston Outlaws on the attack, trying to set Linkser up for some shots. Jake sneaking around the right side while the team goes left. He's trying to do a bit of damage, cause a bit of annoyance, and again, you know, create space for the Widowmaker. That's the key. The dive coming in, though. Gladiators not going to wait for this one. They get Raucus right off the bat. Bishu, though, and also Fissure a little bit separated from the rest of their teams. Asher there, but no supports. The supports couldn't get there, and the tanks just fall immediately. Houston crushing that fight.
And the idea behind that, Doa, was the tanks were going to run in while Surefour peeked out of the window. But not only do the tanks die, but Surefour peeks and gets hit by Linkser. So it is a total disaster for the Gladiators.
Yeah.
Now, fortunately, they do have that massive time bank, so they're not going to take too much of a hit here. But Big Goose getting very far behind. Looks like on the Valkyrie charge already. Banny gonna rejoin and start to heal up his allies. You could see him about doubling the ult percentage. Linkser will now switch over to the Genji, which has been their preferred attack here on B.
Yeah, you never really want to lose the point that quick. If you're the LA Gladiators, that's going to make it tough either way. 6:30 on the clock now for Houston to try to equalize on point B. Jake with the pulse bomb now, just got it.
It's going to be a little bit of a poke war. Actually, Linkser at back fiction going deep, but that is a great counter dive on the side of the Gladiators. They react instantly, and it was a 2 versus 6 in the back line, and that'll be a couple of rapid deaths. And Gladiators going to be happy that they're able to charge some more ults off of that one. Cool Matt was not going in, and
ooh, that was
just brutal.
That was pretty bold. They were definitely ready for that one. And you know the Houston Outlaws have been watching tape on, or the Gladiators rather, have been watching tape on the Houston Outlaws. They know that dive was coming.
And look at the mind games. So Linkser switches to Genji. Surefour switches to Sombra. Now Linkser switches to McCree. Surefour back to the Widowmaker on the approach. So they're watching these hero changes on both sides. And right now, Gladiators should have a range advantage over the McCree.
Definitely Fissure down already. Linkser trying to walk in with the McCree, turns around, gets stuck though, gonna go down. Asher finds a pulse bomb. Houston Outlaws losing a couple people already. The Reds comes in, self-destruct, doesn't catch anybody for the Gladiators. And now Cool Matt back on the point right now. They've got a chance to bring it back, especially with kills on Asher and Shaz. Big Goose goes for the Reds, but he goes down after bringing the Zenyatta back. The Transcendence comes out for Shaz. They need to use it to buy time. They're gonna get the Primal Rage to do that with as well.
And they're still getting some charge here on the point, but Fissure with the Primal Rage is able to push them off, and they are not going to get 2 ticks.
All right, it's 1 tick though, at least. I mean, 5 minutes remaining now. You've got 1 tick. That's a successful attack in terms of actually making some progress anyway.
Especially since Banny's close to having another Valkyrie already, and Big Goose had to use his at the very end of that fight.
Right. Winston battle. Electric Boogaloo.
It's not the most exciting duel in Overwatch.
Really. No, just kind of people holding left click at each other and punching once in a while. It's over almost as soon as it begins. Meanwhile, Fissure does spot Jake on the side of this fight right now. Jake gonna have to exit out of this one. There's a couple blinks to get away.
Here we go.
Yep, Transcendence goes ahead, or Valkyrie rather, gets used. Fact Fiction down immediately. The res comes in. Bounty gets him up. Does he stay alive though? They're gonna cover it with the self-destruct, but the Winston shield on top of it prevents any damage from coming through. Bijou down though after Houston loses a couple. Now Transcendence for Shaz, as once again they try to stall. That's gonna be some more time bought on the point, and Asher going deep, went for the kill on the Raucous, but didn't finish it off. Now Linkser gets killed, Banny down as well, and Houston has to back off and regroup.
One of the things the Gladiators have mastered, Doa, as we see these cleanup kills coming through,
it's a rough stagger,
is that when the tank line goes in, when the dive comes in, the combination of Shaz, Surefour, and Bijou will burst down a Winston nearly instantly. Target calling has been so good. Orb of Discourse have been there, and Surefour's hitting those headshots when the Winstons come in. We saw this with the London Spitfire and Gesture in their match earlier this week.
Oh yeah, definitely. They've been ready for the dive, and whoa, that's a stick on Bonnie. Asher just sticks there, and he catches him unawares. Oh, that one hurts a little bit.
Hurts a lot.
Doesn't look much easier than that. This fight's over.
And Links are back on the Genji. Now Surefour will respond with the Sombra. So Gladiators, they have their contingencies thought out. Again, the Gladiators tanks wiping the floor with the Houston Outlaws as they try to retreat.
Yeah, now Houston's going to come back into this fight with a little bit of an ult advantage, so they've maybe got a chance to get something done in the next combat. Fissure just goes ahead and traps everybody in the room there, and that's quite the cleanup. Here we go. Houston has a couple more ults right now. They did get Surefour early, so they can fight a 6v5 if they want to. Bijou going in. Gonna go ahead and put some pressure on. They draw the Transcendence out from the Outlaws early before they really even get to the point. They're gonna dive in with it. Big Goose in Valkyrie right now, and Bijou gonna send the self-destruct out. Does he catch anybody? Not quite, but Fact Fiction already dead. It's all on the Dragon Blade now from Linkser if they want to turn this fight around. Gets zoned out. Doesn't really get anything from that, but his teammates are coming through, capitalizing on some of that damage. But Shaz once again has a Transcendence. Every single fight, when it starts to go bad, he kind of brings it back around, but maybe not this time. Houston Outlaws, can they finish it? There's a big EMP in for Surefour right now. Jake gets the kill on him anyway. They've nearly got it, they do. 2:01 on the clock, but Houston does get the finish.
So Fact Fiction died at the start of that fight because he was hacked and couldn't use the Primal. However, he uses the Primal to get back from respawn faster, join the point, and then make sure everyone is pushed off and they can't contest. Eventually, it is a cap for the Houston Outlaws, but right now, the Gladiators have more than 3 more minutes in the time bank to deal with them on Volskaya. So definitely a tough road to hoe for the Houston Outlaws. They need to make it quick through A and B.
I was actually really impressed by Shaz on that last round. He had Transcendence every single fight, and most of the fights until the very last one, he was able to use it to delay long enough to set up for the respawns to come back and clean up the fight defensively. So I think he's putting in a pretty good personal performance now, despite them eventually losing it. Like you said, they did buy themselves 3 extra minutes compared to the 2 that Houston ended up getting.
I think Shaz has been exceptional this week.
Oh, yeah.
It's hard sometimes to see a lot of the impactful Zenyatta plays, but even just how well he's calling out his orb targets for the Discord has made a huge difference in the Gladiators' performance, and it's part of why Surefour is doing so well and looking so good.
I mean, that's honestly just a great tip for anyone who wants to play Zenyatta on the ladder. That's what I do all the time. Telling your team who you have Discord on makes such a big difference. Definitely do it.
I agree, Doa. Do it at all times. So, Diva, Bijou going to take a small amount of damage. Surefour will get a tank with a shot on the peak. Heal up, though, from Banny. And Shaz now going to be the one to peek through the windows.
Yeah, Houston with less time in the time bank, so they will attack first in our extra rounds here. Orb of Harmony over onto Asher here to bring him back up. Shaz watching that positioning, staying safe in the room. It's a little bit tough for Houston to dive that, with Surefour providing some covering fire. The tank's protecting Shaz's position. Jake's going to try to get back around there, as we can see. He and Fact Fiction may eventually reach that, but that's going to cause the dive to come in for Gladiators. Going to try to counter dive that one. Surefour trying to run away, but he didn't get far enough with the grapple, and Jake's going to get the kill. Meanwhile, the res comes in for Big Goose. He gets Surefour up barely before he goes down himself, but this is not looking good for Gladiators. Yeah, Houston crushes that one.
I bet he didn't wish he had gotten Surefour up there in the end as he has jumped on top of. Just a little bit more ult charge for the Houston Outlaws. 1 minute remaining. They will get another 30 seconds. Asher's going to try and... No, he's just going to get back. Okay, so Jake and Fact Fiction already there. Asher zips back to his team. Shaz, look at him. He's coming up now on the Transcendence. So a lot of healing came through for the Gladiators in spite of that loss. Surefour sees the Genji, right back over to the Sombra.
You only get 30 seconds more, though, in a time bank round on an assault map. So just a minute in the time bank left for Houston to try to take B. Lynx just swapped over to that Genji now as well. Jake going into the pulse bomb. The dive comes in. They try to get Big Goose, and they do. He ducks right towards it. It wasn't a stick, but he was too close. And now Shaz is going to pop that Transcendence to try to keep his team in it. Fact Fiction rezzed after going down. So Houston still with a lot of people here. They've got to watch out for that self-destruct, though. Again, it's all about buying times for those quick respawns to get there for the Gladiators. Fact Fiction, though, zoning out the Mercy again. Big Goose has to be very careful here. Surefour translocates away. Now they've got Fissure with the Primal Rage as well, trying to stay alive. He's off the edge of the map, but he should be able to get back, and that's going to create room for Fissure and Shaz to come back in for a couple kills. Down to 20 seconds now.
And the rest of the Outlaws have to back out. They know they might be able to get another attack off right now with the respawns that are coming on through. Big Goose also just used his Valkyrie, so it's not going to be there when the Outlaws re-engage.
Look at this, though. Shaz used the Transcendence in that fight, and he's already at 94% towards the next one. He's just got it every single fight. They've got to kill him faster. It's going to be a long delay. Overtime ticking already. Shaz with the Transcendence. Here comes a Blade. Looking for targets, trying to find somebody. Shaz pops the Transcendence, keeping everybody alive through that Genji ultimate, and now Asher and Surefour come in. The EMP sets up the kills, and that's going to set up the hold for the LA Gladiators. I don't think Bonnie's going to get anything done on that solo Mercy, and that's going to be the Houston Outlaws taking point A, but no ticks on B in their time bank round.
Now, the coordination from the Outlaws was better on that second attack. They've identified that Fact Fiction is the main target for the Gladiators right now. He's died 11 times on this map so far. The next closest is 8 from Raucus and Lynxer. And so this time, Banny is a little closer to him when he goes on the engage. He's getting the heal the entire time from the Valking Mercy, but he still dies so fast. And I think at this point, there has to be an adjustment in tactics from the Outlaws, because we have to start seeing more people go in, especially Cool Matt on these dives to protect Fact Fiction.
Sure enough. So we're gonna flip it again, and now the LA Gladiators have a little over 5 minutes to get through point A and then get 1 point here on B to try to win the first map.
If they do get through point A, which obviously is very likely given the 5 minutes that they have to work with, the best the Outlaws can hope for is a draw.
We will see. Gladiators at least have put themselves in a pretty great position to start out this series with a map win. Like we talked about, statistically, in recent history, this has been their best map out of this 4-map pool. Biggest win rate on that one. Let's see if they can keep it going. 5 minutes on the clock. Gladiators looking to get 1 tick on point B to go up 1-0 in this series.
We've been talking a lot about Shaz so far, though he is currently has 3,000 more damage than Raucus in this match. He has been on point.
He's also got double the Transcendence healing, too.
Yes.
He's been building him so quickly. Also a symptom of having way more damage. You're going to get a lot more ultimates that way.
You certainly are.
Here we go. Raucus with the kill on Asher already. Houston Outlaws holding. Oh, but as soon as I say it, Bonnie, Lynxer, and Raucus all dropping. Bijou has to run away, tries to get out, brings Cool Matt in behind him. Gets a little bit of healing on the D.Va, but it's not going to be enough. Does set up a shot for Surefour, and Fissure helping finish a couple kills. That's going to be point A already.
It is. That was very quick. They thought they were going to be able to kill the tanks, but instead the tanks already on the supports of the Houston Outlaws. The Asher kill started well, but the distraction meant that Fissure and Bijou were able to get into that back line and melt through both of the supports without help from the tanks of the Outlaws.
Surefour looking pretty cool, calm, and collected on your screen right there on that player cam. Also fluffy today. His hair is very, it's very...
Cool, calm, and fluffy.
Cool, calm, and fluffy. There you go. That's the 4 things in Surefour. Raucus down early. Fissure with an edge here. Bonnie brings him back up again. with the res. Cool Matt running away with not much health remaining. Fisher gets the kill on Nabani, actually. They popped that Primal Rage really early. He went deep, he's down, but the kill's coming in for Gladiators. Remember, all they need is to be a battering ram. They just need that single tick to win the map. Waiting on Raucus's Transcendence here. Jake down early. Bishu killed him through that healing. Bonnie trying to run back in, but it's too late. The Gladiators just steamroll point B. Great dive from Fisher towards the end to set that one up.
He 1v2 the supports in the back room. He had his Primal Rage, so he says, all right, you can dive in with your tanks. I'll go alone. I have the Primal Rage. You don't. You will not get healed during this engagement. So the Gladiators just split the Houston Outlaws in two, divide and conquer.
That's the luxury of having such big time bank. We'll see if the Houston Outlaws can tie things up on our next map. Don't go anywhere, guys. More Overwatch League action right after this.
Yeah, lick a point. Kill my point. Nice, send Dark. Monkey burst. Target. You know point. Nice, kill Monkey. Diva, right? Guys, good job.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's fastest network ever. Omened by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League. And by Intel, the official computer processor of the Overwatch League.
Is saving this match for the Outlaws right now. He is clutching when his team looks like they're about to lose.
My name is Linkser, and I play DPS for the Houston Outlaws. I personally think what it takes to be MVP in esports and in Overwatch is to kind of be relentless with yourself. You know that eventually you will have slumps, but when it comes to those times, it's very important to keep a good mindset and good attitude towards your teammates and take it as a learning experience.
Lynxer now going to fall back to the point, try and close that angle off, and Lynxer finally connecting.
Personally, I think my biggest challenges have been making sure that mentally not be affected by my performances and just keep going forward. I think what makes a good DPS player is someone who can lead, but also be a bit selfish. It sounds weird considering I said that being a team player is important, but when you're a DPS player, you know that there's a certain element to the game where you have to outskill someone. You need to be able to be confident in yourself to take the fight to them.
Lynxer comes in with the blade, looking to lock this one out.
To be one of the best and to be MVP, you need to have a work ethic and never be complacent. Every win should feel good and every loss a learning experience.
And all the big kills are going the way of Lynxer. Houston Outlaws managing to hold on.
Welcome back, guys, to the Overwatch League. Talking about Lynxer, our possible T-Mobile League MVP. But you know what? I say he was part of the conversation Stage 2, Stage 1. But, in Stage 3, he has taken a little bit of a dip.
Yeah, I think that this is a few things. Obviously, it's still a very friendly Widowmaker map pool.
Sure.
But part of it is that we've seen either a completely new, excellent Widowmaker players introduced to the league, like Saya Player and Architect, or we've seen players like Surefour really step up their game this stage, and the Widowmaker challenge, the battle between the Widows, has become significantly more difficult. So Lynxer, I think, may also be in a bit of a slump right now, and he's still a great player, obviously, on the Houston Outlaws, but he isn't the same dominant force that he was in Stage 1 or Stage 2.
I mean, you raise a good point, though, that other people are sort of stepping up to meet this challenge. I mean, look at Saya Player coming out for Florida Mayhem, right? A pretty spectacular Widowmaker. Artifact kind of showing us some good games, too, on the Widow, although I feel like we need to see a bit more of him first before we make any big judgments. But, I think it's a lot of people sort of getting up to that level at this point, too.
Yeah, at least in this match, if you had to ask me who I would go with as a possible MVP candidate, it would be the most handsome, best main tank, greatest in the world. Who is better than Fisher? Nobody.
Not lately. Not many. There he is on your screen right now. I think this guy right now is definitely in the conversation for League MVP. If he keeps up the performance that he's been keeping up, getting another win over his former team, London, just a couple games ago.
I mean, the difference in performance with the Gladiators has been huge since he joined the roster.
Hey, it's Muma coming in for Fact Fiction as we move forward towards Nimbani. And we are right about ready to get into that one. So Volskaya going the way of the LA Gladiators, and now we see if the Houston Outlaws can tie up the series on our hybrid map, Nimbani. Time to get in there and see who can take it. It's going to be Gladiators on the attack again. Houston Outlaws starting things off on the defense. We are moments away from seeing if Gladiators can put together a strong attack. We're already in. Here we go. Surefour on the 76, which is a bit interesting.
Now, Gladiators usually do run Tracer Soldier on their attack, but what's really interesting, though, is the Widow Sombra defense we have going on right now on the side of the Houston Outlaws.
Oh, they just shoved Raucus off the top there. A hack onto Bijou, may not have been expecting that one. He's going to get demeched almost immediately. That was big for Houston. Wow, they were so ready for that. Great hack from Jake, and that's going to be a solid defense from the Houston Outlaws.
And they were bamboozled. Jake was behind the tanks. Now, the typical strategy on Nimbani, Lynxer was baiting them on the bridge, and that means the tanks are going to go in and try and knock him off. What they didn't know was that there was an invisible Sombra behind them hacking Vishu. Now they're going to have to take a different approach. I like this defense a lot. I've been watching too much Nimbani this week because it's been a puzzler for me as to how teams successfully defend point A. This, however, I think is an interesting solution that we have not seen before, and they are getting punished right now, the Gladiators, for it. Lynxer is going to buy some time there with his infrasight.
Okay, Gladiators having a bit of a chat, and now they're going to try to come back in again. See what the plan is this time. They're just going to dive right onto the point. Big shot onto Fisher, though. Lost about half his health, and Shaz lost all of his. Jake finds the kill onto the Zenyatta, and now he's got the EMP for the next fight. This one clearly already won.
I think this is a brilliant defense. The problem with running the Soldier 76 is you will never outrange the Widowmaker, but what your tanks can do is push the Widow down the hall, down the street beyond the bridge, and so you don't have a vantage point over the control point itself if you're on defense. However, if Muma's where he is right now, and Jake is also collapsing from the same side, you can hack the tanks that are trying to zone you out. And then a damage-boosted Linkser can melt the tanks. This is a very different Numbani defense than what we've seen so far in Overwatch League, and I'm loving it.
Yeah, it's worked great so far. Surefour going to swap over to the Widow now. Going to take that 1v1. Realizes kind of what you were saying, that you can't really fight that Soldier v Widow. Raucus uses the Transcendence early. Had a little bit of trouble here. Jake tried to go for the EMP, but he didn't catch the Zenyatta. They're still going to get the kills anyway, although Fissure finally killing Jake. As coming in on the Jake.
Pulse bomb.
Nice pulse bomb on Numbani.
Right during the Valkyrie, that is a huge play, Noah.
Yeah, not a lot of use out of that ultimate. Now Gladiators has to be aggressive, though. They need to capitalize on this right now. Bishu brought back up again. There's the kill on Arrakis. Gladiators may have finally found their opportunity. That EMP for Jake that he waited so long to use just didn't get them a lot. Raucus was ready with the Transcendence.
That was just a great play from the Gladiators. That time they were ready. They switched to the Widowmaker and they baited because they kept hacking the tanks, they baited Jake in. Jake's going to use that EMP, but Asher is there to punish them as they go in. Hits a really good pulse bomb, and that will propel them to victory. And they will take point A.
Yeah. Payload moving now.
And now Jake, of course, will be switching up onto the Tracer.
Yep. Surefour is sticking with the Widow for the moment. He's pretty close to Infrasight. Now, point B usually goes pretty quick for the attacker. You don't see a whole lot of holds here. Houston Outlaws with a couple ultimates to use. Jake flying high, or rather Surefour flying high, gets the kill on Arrakis on his way down. There goes Big Goose on the Gladiator side. Links are down though. Fissure making another big individual play, and whoa, the Surefour, what a flick onto the head of Jake. That was sick, and Surefour just cleaning up now. Goodbye.
Waving goodbye at the end. So Gladiators stalled out temporarily, but the big individual plays, like you're saying, coming through, whether it's Asher, Surefour, or Fissure, they are bisecting the Outlaws formation and cleaning up both halves at the same time. Asher now going to be on the flank with Fissure. Fissure is right by him. Fissure's going to drop away.
He had to back away. He took a bit of damage here. Oh, there's a stick on the Linkser. He never saw it coming. Asher with a big pick there. Self-destruct used. Meanwhile, Raucus, he's going to use that Transcendence rather, not the self-destruct. Zenyatas don't do that yet. Surefour with a kill on Arrakis, so as soon as the ultimate ends, they've nearly got the payload there. Asher trying to put some pressure on it. Shaz kills Jake, and now Gladiators can go back in. They dealt with the backline threat, and they dealt with the frontline threat too now. Self-destruct finally used by Coolmat, but it's still going to be Gladiators grinding this one out. Coolmat a little bit low on the mech, and yeah, that's going to be That's going to be point B.
That's it. 3 minutes remaining, so still a good amount of time for the Gladiators. Jake's going to stay on the Tracer for the time being. So they are still committed to the Tracer Widow. Both of these teams liking that combination, but Gladiators, quite a few ults up for themselves. They're going to drop back and avoid the Infrasight from Linkser.
Yeah, they can just wait that out. They've got 2:40 on the clock right now. They don't need to be super panicked about getting the attack done quickly. Got time.
You must like me.
Well, I guess. I don't really like playing you, Widowmaker, but I like watching other people play you.
That's the only thing I like about Widowmaker, is watching other people.
It's quite the assumption to make, Widowmaker. Big Goose down already. Good start for Houston Outlaws. Surefour going to get chased out. May not make it. Yeah, I think he's just going to, well, gets back to the Transcendence. Raucus right there with a right click. Shaz finds the kill onto Jake, though, and Asher on the run. Gets back to the big health pack, but I think that attack is pretty much over.
Yeah, you'll be pretty happy with this if you're the Houston Outlaws as well. You sort of matched support ultimates, so the way the support ults are staggered right now, Big Goose and Raucus will have theirs simultaneously, while Shaz and Banny should have theirs up at about the same time. And it's going to be hard for the Gladiators to punch through this because they don't have a big fight-winning ult right now until they get that Valkyrie.
They've been efficient with the ultimates, though, and saving him. And the battle with the Tracers looks like Surefour is going to get involved. Just chasing Jake out of there. Jake going in, he's got the 1v2, he tries to go. Oh, he gets Surefour though. Whoa, what a surgical strike to kill Asher, and then, or Surefour rather, and then Linkser with the finishing blow on Asher.
And there's the throwaway self-destruct from Bishu as well. That wasn't going to hit anybody.
Well, Fisher popped Primal Rage during that as well. This attack could not have gone worse for the Gladiators.
Yeah, that really is an overcommitment to a lost fight. Maybe there was a miscommunication and they thought perhaps they were going to be able to resurrect Surefour, but Muma was standing right on top of him, so that was pretty much a no-go from the beginning. Fissure now going to change to Orisa.
Huh, okay.
Now it will be a slow push now.
I mean, I suppose it does help mitigate some of the incoming fire from the Widowmaker to have those shields that you can position and reposition pretty quickly.
Yeah, I like this adaptation. We'll see if they can make it work.
Yeah, pulling people into the firing line of Surefour too is pretty big. Primal Rage from Muma. He's gonna stay alive with that one. Gets aggressive in the backlines now. Oh, tries to boop Fissure out into the sight of the rest of his team, but isn't too successful in doing that. They do get the D-Mech on the cool mat.
Yeah, couldn't get the Winston bubble down in time, so the D-Mech does come through. They also already used the Valkyrie.
Oh, they nearly killed Muma here. And Surefour gets Jake actually with the Venom Mine. Shaz brought back into the fight. Bishu there on the point, cleaning up some of the squishier members of Houston. Bonnie and Raucus both down, and that's a big fight for Gladiators. They are gonna push forward here. The adaptation on the fly, coming up big for these guys, but we are in overtime. They're going to need to fight the respawns.
And now Fisher's coming back with a Reinhardt just to push it in. Big Goose gonna be speed boosting him back with the Lucio. Love this fast swaps we're seeing from the Gladiators today.
Oh, Bishu's gotta stay alive though. They can't let him get D-Mech'd immediately here. Transcendence comes in, gonna have to be, oh, carefully, barely misses a pin on the body, but he gets him back in the back room. No Guardian Angel, and somehow, some way,
Muma died. There was nobody on the card, so Gladiators are going to push it.
Interesting. Gladiators gets all 3 points.
And let's talk about how this happened, because the first defense from Houston was good, but Gladiators was great after that. Now, they are not going to be expecting the Sombra here. You can see Jake at the top right corner of your screen, and Linkser is the bait. Usually tanks will dive in to push people onto the low ground, and this is where we see Jake strike. Comes across, hacks Bishu, and then this is just a total cleanup because they're able to walk straight back on after that play. So this is a very different style and a tricky style, a cunning style of Numbani defense.
It's things like that that are going to make the difference between making the stage playoffs or not, too. I mean, you need to be the team that's making those little adaptations to kind of take advantage of your opponent's plan.
Yeah, it's been a puzzler for me, this Numbani A defense, because with all the stuff you can do on attack, sometimes you'll see the Soldier, sometimes you'll see the Widowmaker, sometimes you'll see Dive.
Sometimes you'll see the Pharah.
Yeah, sometimes you'll see the Pharah. And it's hard to have a catch-all defense that can sort of deal with anything.
Yeah.
And the Soldier is the Soldier Tracer that we're going to see the Gladiators run with is problematic, because if you get knocked off the high ground, the tanks will be on this wall with the oil advertisement on it, and you have to walk up onto this corner and drop your heal station, and you're still pretty vulnerable in the end. The Tracer can sort of control the point, but it gets tough when there's a couple supports and a couple tanks lined up on that wall, and you have to attempt the retake. So I'm not a huge fan of this. You can also just get decimated by a Widow on attack because you'll have such a disadvantage when it comes to range.
Definitely something scary to consider. We'll see if Gladiators picked right. Houston Outlaws not going with the Widowmaker. Oh, no, they are. Okay, it was a Genji for Linkser initially, but he swapped to the Widowmaker at the last second.
They saw the Soldier, is what happened, is they realized it was a Soldier play, and then they switch over to the Widowmaker, because now you can control the high ground, you can control the point, and the Soldier has huge problems against this.
Yeah, here comes Houston. The battle, Raucus in big trouble, doesn't get to the health pack. Oh, that hurts bad. Asher with a big kill on the supports early. Man, when you die on the health pack like that feels so bad.
As couldn't quite get there, and now the Gladiators can walk up on them. No other deaths occur in the skirmish, and Raucus will slowly make his way back to the point. Linkser just making sure.
Well, he's playing it very cautiously until his team gets back.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you don't want to get picked.
Needs to get them off the high ground, though.
Oh, Shaz. Needs to be careful here. Oh, comes out with the right click. Oh, but Raucus there. He predicts him with his own shots anyway. The double sniping attempt. Big Goose comes in with the res onto Shaz. Now Asher on the run, tries to get to the health pack. I believe he did get to it. Yep. And there's a res onto Shaz. Okay, that still did come in. Houston Outlaws not giving up on the attack yet. They've kind of looped around the left side, and they're all protecting Linkser back there. He's going to drop to the low ground. And they're going to go right through the Winston shield. That's going to be the self-destruct use. Now Surefour pulls out the tac visor. Muma's got the shield there. He's going to run right into it. Melee range. He gets the kill onto Muma. Bishu, though, down. And Raucus finds it onto Fissure as well.
So it's a 5 versus 6 for the Houston Outlaws on the point now. Linkser has the infrared. Asher's going to get Jake.
Yeah, but then Linkser comes right in for the counter kill, and Houston still has control of the point. They can contest it, though. Big Goose tries to keep Surefour alive, though, but he can't. It was too much of a dive. Bishu, meanwhile, delaying it, keeping any time from being taken by the Houston Outlaws. Transcendence comes out, self-destruct, no targets. Houston actually kind of has to fall back. Oh, but Big Goose on his own. He needs to find a way to get out of there with the Guardian Angel. Chasing him, just drawing back the members of Houston. It does take pressure off the point a bit. It does expose Bonnie. Both Mercies down now. Surefour finds Jake as well, and it's just Muma and Coolmat. Make it just Muma on the point. So somehow the Gladiators were able to delay.
And Muma really wants to kill somebody right here while the healing is gone. If he gets Surefour, which he does, they may be able to pull this off. He has to stay alive, though, and he will.
All right, that was actually big.
That
was not so big because the res comes in for Big Goose.
Yeah, they do get the res, but now there's no res on the side of the Gladiators, and they've been pushed out. Look how far back they have to play. Now they have to play recapture on the territory of the point, and Jake is capping.
Well, Bishu's already lost his mech too, so Gladiators more or less without a tank, now without their Widowmaker too, so Houston should be able to finish this one up right here. It is cleanup time, just trying to delay, eat as much time off the clock as they can right now. They did force Houston down to less than 1 minute remaining, but Houston will get the payload started.
And honestly, that was a really good defense by the Gladiators, considering the compositional differences, but you see what happens when you're finally shoved off the point.
Yeah.
Gladiators were tenacious in the way that they wouldn't get shoved off, and they were attacking aggressively down the main entrance. And
yes.
Hello.
Yes,
Hello.
please. Okay. It is a Torbjorn on attack in Overwatch League.
Fissure
They've got
has
the shield from Orisa, okay.
Look at the compositional. Gladiators has changed to a triple tank for this defense, and the reaction is going to be a Torbjorn, Muma.
Okay.
And they stay behind this Orisa shield. It's going to be difficult to take this out with the composition they're running.
That's right, Jake on the run now, but he can't run fast. Oh, and that's a double kill. Gotta run quicker. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why you do not run Torbjorn on attack. Although, well, you can if you have Linkser killing everybody, I guess.
I mean, yeah, you have to attack the cart, but in the meantime, as you walk up on the cart, there's Linkser there that's shooting you at close range.
Yeah, you know, I mean, when it comes down to it, this does create just a ton of space for Linkser.
Jake is not switching off.
Not yet. No, Asher down. They don't need to, man. I mean, they've got the slight edge in terms of numbers here. Linkser fed up, getting a little bit frustrated with missing those shots here. Meanwhile, Jake building as fast as he can.
And this is the first time Torbjorn has been played on attack on Numbani, or on attack on any map, and I'm sure no one will be surprised about that.
We are not making a chicken out of a feather there. It is a big deal. All right, now. All we're missing is a Symmetra.
Muma wants to fix that for us, we know.
I know.
Historically. So Asher has this pulse bomb, wants to get somebody in the back line right now. Shaz actually kills Raucus.
Hey, finishing damage. Pulse bomb goes in, and Gladiators storming back into this fight. Jake and Jake's beloved turret, his baby, are down.
So are they going to play this long enough? No, now is the time to switch off. I was like, okay, probably not going to stick with it through the Molten Core. I think that would be a mistake.
I mean, he was pretty far away from the Molten Core yet.
Yeah.
It would have taken him too long.
Yeah, and they are going to be probably trying to make a couple of eco pushes into the end of this map. They have to get rid of the Graviton if they want to keep moving forward.
It was a hilariously quick point B for Houston. They've given themselves as much time as they possibly could have to try to take C, but 2 minutes is still not a lot of time on Numbani to finish. Fissure waiting in with that Reinhardt now. Surefour gets a kill into Linkser. Gladiators have so much HP right now, it's hard to burn through it. The Discord targeting needs to be really good for Outlaws, and right now Gladiators just running away with this one.
Yeah, they use the Earth Shatter, but Surefour patient with this Graviton Surge. He's not going to commit it. He's been in pretty low energy this entire time, so not doing a lot of damage. The Houston Outlaws not giving him much to work with. They're not shooting those projected barriers. Big Goose, though, works his way up towards the sound barrier.
I mean, Gladiators have a huge ult advantage right now. Both support ultimates. They've got big CC ultimate as well and Graviton Surge. They can go for the bigger bang combo, which is where you Graviton Surge and then send the self-destruct from D.Va in there.
Yeah, Houston needs to force these ults out now. They've got a couple of pushes left, but that's going to be it.
They've got maybe 3 at this point. Here we go. Surefour does not want his grab to get eaten here, and that's going to be the job. Oh, I just said that. I thought he nearly was about to do it. The voice cue was very similar. I got a bit bamboozled by that one.
You did, but not quite yet. He is being super patient with it, and he's getting a lot charge.
Oh boy. Oh, Rockaso gets a kill into Surefour. Can they res him? Shaz down as well. He used the Transcendence, and now Bishu D-Mech, this fight falling apart. They didn't really get to use many ultimates. And there's a lot of picks from Houston. Now they've got the ults.
Yeah, in the meantime, Houston gets the advantage, so Gladiators may have held on a little bit too long. They held all of their ults there for the most part.
Yep. They're so close. Here we go. Sound barrier as Gladiators get aggressive. 30 seconds remaining. If they can win a fight here, it's going to be tough to do it. That's an Earth Shatter coming in. They're going to grab as well, but where's the damage? They need to do more with that. The charge takes Coolmat out of the fight and out of the Transcendence healing. Lynx are a bit on his own, going to get run over by Bishu. And now Asher with Coolmat taken down, and it's only Muma on the point. Rock is killed by Asher on the tertiary side of that.
And now 10 seconds left. I mean, Muma can maybe get there.
Bishu zoning Jake as well.
Yeah, Jake is going to have to blink onto the payload. Just tried to blink in time. Bishu, I think, booped him back just enough that he couldn't double blink.
Yeah, it was
to make it to the payload.
It was good zoning by Bishu. That was not a C9, guys. I don't think it was.
It was not. It was not. He thought that he could get there in 2 blinks. He tried to time it out. Bishu knocked him back just enough that he wasn't able to reach the payload in time.
I know what Twitch chat is spamming right now, and it's fun. It's fun. It's not true.
But it's
not
wrong.
the case this time. 2-0 lead for LA Gladiators. That's the truth right now as they pull it out on Numbani against the Houston Outlaws. We're going to go to halftime here with the desk has to say, and then after that, we will see if the Houston Outlaws can start a bit of a comeback. Will they be able to get some momentum in the series? Don't go anywhere because you're going to find out right after this.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League. Intel, the official computer processor of the Overwatch League. And by T-Mobile, America's fastest network ever. You just gotta keep moving forward.
one so far, but it's the best kind of beer. And if you're a Gladiators fan, you're currently up 2-0 at the half over the Houston Outlaws. Welcome back, everybody. We are live from the Blizzard Arena once again with your halftime coverage of the Houston Outlaws taking on a very tough Gladiators squad. And after our first two maps, the Gladiators in full control. Let's just jump right into the highlights as we look back at map number 1. It all started on Volskaya Industries, boys.
And I thought that the Gladiators were going to have a slight edge here, but you disagreed. It was a really close one, a toss-up between the two teams. And they both had pretty good point A offenses. Linksa came out with a crazy Widowmaker to start their offense, and on the other side, it was kind of a weird situation where Jake failed to kill Surefour, and so they had to go and help him. So.
I think a big part of it was a disconnect, actually, between the tanks. So I argued that Fact Fiction coming in was going to help them. It was going to mean that Houston were going to be playing this map a little bit better. What I was seeing was, on the defense, a lot of the time, Houston were a bit disjointed. There was very well orchestrated dives by Fisher and the rest of his gang of squad members just jumping into the back line onto the supports of Houston. And Bani and Raucus really didn't have anything to escape it. Now, Numbani was, again, a very weird match. Both of these teams, again, before this match, had not won Numbani.
Historically terrible.
Historically terrible. So we never really knew what to expect. And boy, did they surprise us with some weird stuff.
They came out with the strangest stuff. I've never seen a Sombra Widowmaker defense of point A that the Houston Outlaws decided to go with. And then this Torbjorn offense on point B is absolutely ridiculous, but I loved it. And it worked.
Yeah,
it got them to point B, and the LA Gladiators were forced to adapt, presumably on the fly, unless they've seen it in scrims before, and I don't know why they would have.
Right.
So they went very quickly, though, in their credit, over to this triple tank, and then were able to hold out the rest of the map with it. So I love the fact that we're seeing this adaptation, the pocket strats coming out for the Houston Outlaws. It's something we don't see often in the Overwatch League, because people try and hone what they think of as the best way of playing the map rather than throwing curveballs. But I love it, because neither of these teams are great. At Numbani specifically, and so if your default stuff isn't working, throw a curveball in, see how it works.
That was the name of the game for me, at least in this series so far, was adaptability between these teams, because we saw as well the sort of mind games that are occurring. Monty was talking about it in map number 1. Linksa was switching to the Genji. Surefour immediately goes over to the Sombra to try and counter it. So then Linksa switches back to the McCree to counter the Sombra pick, and then it was back to the Widowmaker again, and it was a constant mix and matching, and that carried over to map 2 as well, with Fisher with his adaptations when it comes to his tank play.
It's very fun to watch these DPS stars go at each other, like Linksa and Surefour, but the other DPS player on the Outlaws was running a Torb. Let's look back at this sideshow. What's the game plan here for the Outlaws on Numbani?
I think they've struggled with this stage a little bit more, and so they know that the LA Gladiators are going to be running either a Widow or a Soldier Tracer composition usually. And so Houston Outlaws are just going to stuff a Torbjorn on the card, put an Orisa there, and make it really difficult to actually poke and prod them down. If you don't have a Genji and you can't properly dive from the LA Gladiators, obviously hydration isn't in the game, you're going to find it difficult to play aggressively enough to take out that Orisa and Torbjorn. So instead, LA Gladiators went over to the triple tank, which in theory can just run straight at them. But by the time they really got on top of the Torbjorn turret, Linksa had taken out a few of them in the streets with some crazy individual performances, and they were able to keep the momentum rolling.
The Bishu bombs also kind of shut down the early Torb momentum here. But
They did, yeah.
Brent, to play Torb at a pro level, all I need to do is just hit my turret, right?
Kind of. All I'm saying is this is not an excuse to play Torb in your ranked games. Attack Torb in particular.
Yes, it is.
I'm a big fan of Torbjorn, right? I actually think that that's a very underrated hero. He can put out a ton of damage. He's got a great utility.
Armor packs.
Armor packs.
We saw the stats from Jake. 6 armor packs thrown out, 780 damage.
2 deaths.
Yeah, it doesn't look great on paper, but it's the way that it forces the enemy team to react.
I like it. It's because it's those sort of curveball moments that really start to test teams. And we saw Gladiators immediately sort of answer the call with the triple tank to try and run them over. It's always fun when you see it. And I like it. It's a good usage of the hero overall.
I like it. I want to see who is the first non-coward to bring out Symmetra in the Overwatch League. We got to attack Torb. Where's the sim, guys? Where's the sim? All right, let's talk about our tanks, because that's been the story for the Gladiators this week. Against London, it was Fissure versus Gesture. Today, it's been Fissure versus Fact Fiction and Muma. Let's talk about this first map, though. What was he showing us?
Yeah, I mean, who is better than Fissure, realistically? Nobody. This guy was nobody.
That's a meme, by the way, for anyone who's tuning in for the first time. It's been going on for a while.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you for covering me there, Bucket. But this, like, Fissure had a ridiculous performance, I feel like. As you can see from the statistics here on map number 1,
massive difference.
He had a huge difference, and he was really pivotal in changing a lot of of these team fights. And we actually have as well a nice little replay that shows us exactly what was going on. It was the final moments onto Volskaya, where Fischer managed to get a kill on top of the supports, and he was just buying time. This has happened multiple moments in this match so far. It's Fischer actually taking control of the game, building a lot of space, creating a lot of space with his Primal Rage, and taking the supports out of these team fights for Houston. And that has been, very, very crucial in them winning a lot of these fights.
And when you look on the other side, the entirety of the LA Gladiators were really focusing on taking Fact Fiction out of the fight. He had a huge amount of deaths there, because as soon as he engaged, they would mince it, just immediately blow him up. And so this kind of carried through a little bit onto Numbani. They're trying to put a lot of pressure on the main tank of the Houston Outlaws. That's classically been one of their strengths. And I think part of it is that they know that Jake isn't going to come out with crazy superstar performances if they leave him alone. So they can afford to allocate a couple more resources to shutting down the main tank rather than the Tracer.
On the other side for Houston, do you need to start targeting Fissure after watching those first half?
I definitely think so. I feel like you need to start prioritizing all of your resources into bringing that man down, because he is really having a hard carry performance on that main tank role. And it's a rarity these days that somebody can have that much impact on the Winston, but Fischer is really going to town on Houston Outlaws right now.
We'll see if Rockets can keep the Discord orb on Fissure all of game 3. When we return, we got 2 more maps for you. It all begins with Ilios. We'll see you in just a few.
Right side. I'm just gonna what right side? What right side? I can't contest. We go. Back. That's not having no rest. Looking for them. Yeah, back. He's showing. They use wall. I'm not getting one. I'm doing it. Monkey headshot on point. Point. I'm on point. Me in the back. No. Yeah. We were Shinai? Yeah, we see 9. Are we sure Shinai? No, we won. Yeah, they see 9. Okay, thank you. Hey!
If you're in the Los Angeles area, come experience Overwatch League live at Blizzard Arena. For tickets, check out access.com.
Welcome back, everybody. It is match point Gladiators as they currently hold the 2-0 lead over the Houston Outlaws. And you know what? I gotta say, that was quite a gutsy call by the Outlaws to run that attacking Torbjorn. Which makes me want to ask this question to everybody watching in the Twitch chat. Would you consider a strategy like the one we just saw on Nubani, would you consider that a good strategy or disrespect? Let me know when you feel so inclined to in the comments in the chat. And in the meantime, let's go ahead and jump back in for the second half and throw it on over to our casters, Monty and Doa.
Thank you, Malik. You know, one thing to keep in mind, though, it's only disrespect if you win when you do it.
That's true.
That's how it is. Sorry. Well, guys, we are going to Ilios. It's been a 2-0 victory so far for the Gladiators, but Houston could turn it around. This is a rough map for the Gladiators sometimes. However, the last time they played this map against Houston, things got a little bit wacky.
Yes, we thought it was weird with some attack Torbjorn. Well, how about triple DPS
yeah.
with hydration on the Lucio in the end? Big Goose playing the Sombra. And this actually won them the entire series. So
yeah.
they won this map. Gladiators took it home in 5 with Ilios as the tiebreaker. So we've seen a lot of interesting swaps. The Gladiators are certainly willing to experiment with their compositions and switch things up very rapidly. Now, it has to be said, we're not going to see that today, unfortunately.
How do you know?
Because Surefour's gotten a lot better at Widowmaker, and it's Ruins where we will see the Tracer Widow, especially with Asher going to be in this map. But there is a face we've seen on Ilios this stage.
That's right. Clockwork in for Jake. So the Outlaws switching things up a little bit, and Boink in for Bonnie, as Houston often does on their control maps.
And the reason why we're seeing Clockwork is that they like to play Pharah and Tracer on Well and Ruins, and this means Linkser plays the Tracer, and then they switch, so Clockwork will play the Tracer on Ruins, and then the Widow will be Linkser. So Lighthouse Well, Pharah for Clockwork, otherwise Tracer, Ruins.
That's right. Moving on towards Ilios. We will see if the Houston Outlaws can get some momentum going in this series, get themselves a win. Map-wise, this is probably one of the ones they have a better shot at, despite that the weird result last time they met in the tiebreaker in Stage 2.
It is going to be really hard, obviously, for Houston to win this series. Of course, they do need to reverse sweep, but they also have to play Route 66, which has been their worst map.
Yeah.
And though they recently beat Dallas on it, Dallas was not playing a Widow on point A defense. I think there are a lot of caveats, a lot of asterisks surrounding that win. So we need to see more from them on Route 66 if we are to believe the curse is actually broken.
Indubitably.
Indubitably.
I just wanted to say that word. Indubitably. LA Gladiators versus Houston Outlaws getting things started here on Ilios. It's going to be the Pharah for Clockwork, as we have come to expect from time to time from him.
Yeah, they are going to try and make space, and surely the rest of the Gladiators know that this is going to be coming. They are going to try and play that Widowmaker versus Clockwork to
it's brave.
Snipe him out of the sky.
It is brave to play that Pharah against Surefour's Widowmaker, but your sightlines aren't quite as open on this round in particular, but yeah, you still got to be careful.
I mean, but there's not really a good way for them to deal with this, especially with Raucus here on the Mercy, and they're able to zone him out. There's only certain places that Surefour's going to be able to snipe from, and they can't walk up to the point, so...
but Shaz somehow finds the angle and takes him down. Linkser falls as well, courtesy of Surefour, and it's just the supports and tanks for Houston left to try to hold this point.
Oh, that was so unnecessary by Clockwork. He tried to float in on the reverse angle when he was doing a great job of holding the members of the Gladiators away from his teammates anyway.
Oh, he didn't make it. It's tough to do that one. That one is a tough one to live through.
So Muma is here on the top side, and then Clockwork.
I mean, I guess he didn't know he was there or something, because, yeah, if you set up a Zen with an easy shot like that, you're going to get annihilated by that right click every time.
Yeah, they had to clear out that area before doing it, or just simply continue to push rockets into that house. Surefour now. It's going to get Boink. There's going to be a barrier, but that's still a snipe as Clockwork slightly above the barrier.
Yeah, Surefour pretty much uncontested at this point. He's going to pop the infra sight. Why did they name it that? Blizzard, why are you doing this to me? He's going to use his ultimate. That's what I'm trying to say. To get a bit of vision on the Houston Outlaws, but they're all dead. Right, cool, Matt. So it doesn't matter.
And they still don't have an answer to the Surefour Widowmaker. London didn't have one earlier this week. Houston has struggled with it. Their tanks just die on the way in.
It's another headshot onto Coolmat. A lot of his health off. That damage boosted Widow, a danger to everyone, tanks included. Expecting the dive, and it does come through. Surefour backing away in anticipation. Point and Clockwork already down. Asher finds a big pulse bomb, and it's only Raucus on the Mercy to support the rest of Houston. They've got ultimates. A nice dive onto Raucus. Asher combining with Fissure for a big one there.
Asher is doing a great job. His pulse bombs tonight have been so on point.
Definitely.
He's gotten so many sticks on the back line of the Houston Outlaws that there's really nothing they can do. Because if the tanks from the Houston don't go in to deal with Surefour, Surefour kills everybody. If they do go in, there's a pulse bomb waiting for either Boink or Raucus. Raucus now just done with it. He's going to try and play the
no! Linkser did not get the sound barrier. It's going to be a 5v6 as Houston tries desperately to take the point. Already 98%, 99 now for the Gladiators. There goes Clockwork, no DPS, and I would say nearly no chance for Houston. And with that Primal Rage, everybody's going to get sent flying, and that should be point A. Going the way of the Gladiators. Yep, Linkser booped out before he could even cause the overtime to continue. So a quick first round going LA's way.
Dominant from the Gladiators. And considering that the Houston Outlaws also use the Pharah Tracer on another point, not Ruins, which we're going to, but well. And now the Houston Outlaws have to come back on a Tracer Widow map. That means Clockwork will be on the Tracer, Linkser will be playing the Widowmaker, and if they lose this, they will lose the series.
That's right. Here we go, the Shields Up chants filling the Blizzard Esports Arena here in Burbank, California, as the Gladiators try to win Ilios 2-0 here on Ruins, and by doing that, win the series.
Gladiators can put it away right now. As you see Linkser gonna be peeking out from the high ground. He's going to find Shaz, but Big Goose is there. Muma's going to jump in, but not before the res completes.
Still, though, a moral victory for Houston getting that first pick, but Linkser doesn't need to worry about Shaz so much. He's got to worry about Surefour. Bishu, though, gets demech. They were ready for the dive. There's the kill onto Fissure. Surefour does get Raucus, and it looks like Houston is still going to be able to claim the point first, so they will get some control percent going.
Yes, they will. Couple snipes from Linkser. Really helping the cause of the Houston Outlaws.
Right.
Gladiator's going to be walking back into this. Big Goose and Shaz got hardly any healing done.
Bishu out of the mech on the Gladiator's side too. Trying to build back up to the Diva mech again. It's going to take a little while though, but not too much longer. No, going high is Linkser, finds no target, so Gladiators staying out of sight until Bishu gets that mech back again. He's got it now. Okay. So now you'd think they're going to get going here.
Linkser.
They will.
And try and push into the tanks with these shots.
Yeah, Asher went for the pulse bomb. Didn't connect with anything that time. Meanwhile, Fissure in big trouble here. Gets some mercy healing just at the very end. Stays alive, but barely.
But they pulled out the Valkyrie. So this is still pretty good for the LA Gladiators. Going to work up to double support zones of their own.
Oh, man. I think that pulse bomb got eaten. But meanwhile, Shaz down. Rezzed again by Big Goose. Luckily, they had that cooldown available. Here we go. Valkyrie used by Big Goose. Shaz nearly has his tranquility. It looks like Raucus is going to use his right now. Fissure down again early. They've been really good about countering that dive and being ready for the Winston as he jumps in. Now the Transcendence, as Gladiators decides to fight it. It's going to be a 5v5 now that Coolmat is down. They've got an even number there. Meanwhile, Numa not dislodged yet. So far, so good for Houston. Close call for Linkser there. Boink down, okay. No mercy now for Houston. So maybe Gladiators can turn this into a fight win. Bishu coming up big with 2 kills there. Big Goose brings back Asher. They've got the advantage now, and Muma pops that Primal Rage to try to just zone a lot of the Gladiators out. Self-destruct comes in, and he gets knocked back into it. Nearly Surefour finding that final damage, and Gladiators will flip the point.
Yeah, Coolmat going to escape with his mech intact towards the rest of his teammate, but one fight away for the Houston Outlaws from a win. Gladiators will have to hold this for quite some time, running it basically all the way back.
That's right. So it's going to be tricky for the Gladiators to win this one. Houston Outlaws has the luxury of time to build up some ultimates, come back in with a big fight.
Surefour working his way forward slowly.
Yeah. And he's got to be careful.
Yeah, not taking any risks. And there's the Infrasight right as the Outlaws are approaching the
11
point.
Surefour nearly down, stays alive for the moment, needs a bit of healing, finally getting it. Fissure pops that Primal Rage, keeping Houston zoned out. 40% now for Gladiators. They've got both support ultimates too. Surefour going up high, no kills out of that one though, doesn't find a target. Pulse Bomb comes in, nope, that's gonna be the self-destruct instead. Fissure down, that's gonna be a problem for the Gladiators. They need to try to cover a res, and oh, Linkser gets another one. The res comes in onto Fissure, but Gladiators short-handed either way as they try to defend the point. They're gonna send in the self-destruct, and somehow they catch point. That is disastrous for Houston. They've nearly flipped it.
Yeah, Point couldn't get around the corner, and he's the last support standing. Muba incredibly low, has to back off of the point. And that's going to be cooled back, D-backed, and Clockwork unable to stay because Big Goose and Shaz are there to help Fissure and Bishu.
Wow, I gotta say too, Bishu has really been in the right place at the right time since Gladiators have taken the point. He was instrumental in flipping it the first time, and now they've nearly equalized the control percent, getting near 90% themselves.
Yeah, Outlaws going to be struggling to take this one back. They're down in support ult percentage. Maybe Coolmat can do something with this self-destruct.
Yep. Bishu just zoning Muma out a little bit here. 99% Gladiators have brought it all the way back, but can they hold it? Can they win this last fight? Shaz goes in with the Transcendence as they try to just grind it out. Rockets gets the kill into Surefour though. Houston with the Primal Rage. Asher got a bit too close to that one, but now the response from the Gladiators. Fissure and Bishu picking up kills before losing Fissure themselves, and Houston do have the edge here. They've got the Valkyrie going as well. The self-destruct, not getting anybody. Muma had the Winston shield there. Just in time, and now Houston Outlaws look like they might be able to grind this fight out. Big Goose going after Linkser actually with the Valkyrie over on the side. He gets the kill. Meanwhile, back on the point, Houston Outlaws scrambling to keep trying to take this one, and Fissure has a Primal Rage. Gladiators delaying long enough to get their dead people back again. Big Goose down though, they have no mercy, and Rock is ready as Fissure jumps in. Houston Outlaws flips it. Oh no, they don't. They should get it soon. There we go. Okay. 95%. Can anyone get back? Bishu can reach the point, it seems like. They've got the Doomfist. No, nobody gets there. And Houston ties it up.
So close at the end, 99 to 99. Houston pushes it over the edge and stays alive just barely in the series.
I mean, that was the round on this map too that Houston absolutely had to win. That's the one that should have been a big edge for Gladiators, with Surefour getting all those sight lines with the Widowmaker. So for Houston to win that one, suddenly you're like, okay, all right, now we've got ourselves a map here.
Yeah, I think though that we have to see an adaptation from the Outlaws. They can't play the Pharah again like they have in the past on Well.
That'd be tough, yeah.
I think it's going to have to be the Widow and the Tracer one more time. That is what they're going to look at. Double Orisa here, as we're seeing more frequently on Well, thanks to the help of... Oh, no, we're not, actually, just Fissure.
Yeah, Houston relying on the dive now. Boink, though, staying with that Lucio. The opportunities for environmental kills, though, are so good on this point that the Lucio is a pretty dangerous choice for Houston to go with. Well, dangerous for the Gladiators, anyway.
Can be deadly, get a lot of value out of those environmental kills.
Yeah, Muma down to about a third health right now. He has to take a bit of a break from the fight. Gladiators slow pushing their way onto this one. Muma dives in along with Asher, or rather Clockwork. Clockwork very low though. Had to recall. Linkser meanwhile finding some shots on the side. Boink keeping that high ground secure going in. Oh, that was a close boof. Yeah, the Fortify rather blocked the boof. Meanwhile, Surefour down. Shaz down as well. Clockwork coming up big. Boink gets the kill on the Bishu either way with that right click, and that's going to be Fissure eliminated as well. Houston will get their control percent going early.
And that was a great surround by the Houston Outlaws. They know Gladiators just going to play the corner with the Orisa shield, and so they find two flanks, execute a pincer attack, and speed boost their way into the fray.
That's right.
Now, they are going to get the first control here. Fissure will be staying with the Orisa, and now everyone revealed, courtesy of Linkser's ult.
Yeah, earlier Infrasight for Linkser, as opposed to Surefour's Widowmaker, so that's going to cause Gladiators to be patient. What a stick on the Shaz! Clockwork, just the instant reaction to get that one That was solid. Meanwhile, the res comes in. Shaz brought back to life. Asher does get the D-Mech onto Coolmat, and now Surefour coming in with the kills. Gladiators turning this one around after losing somebody early to Clockwork, rather.
And the delays, how long can the Houston Outlaws get these delays on the point? Because that's what they should be going for right now. Muma's been holding on to this Primal Rage. There it goes.
Linkser got Surefour as well, so that's the Widowmaker down. Self-destruct doesn't get anybody here. Meanwhile, Houston still building that control percent. Linkser lurking around the back, wants to get the shot onto Shaz, and he comes so close. He's gonna go ahead and wait for it. Now finally decides to take a shot at Bijou.
I mean, Linkser killing both DPS, turned that fight around.
Oh, no kidding, yeah. Sound barrier just to keep Houston safe. 70% now for that. Bijou D-Mech, Supercharger down, but not in a place where Gladiators can really fight that. Houston can just back away and be like, all right, enjoy your Supercharger, enjoy damage boosting when you have nothing to shoot at.
Houston just pulling the rabbit out of the hat there. That is what they needed to stay in this one, because it's put them within one fight. Linkser.
The counter sniper's back. He is back, man. He has been dominating Surefour. What a shot on the Asher, and there's the disrespect.
The tactical crouch, Noah.
That's right, you know. You Surefour, you know, he could be back. He could be shooting at you. You gotta try to dodge those headshots.
It's really Shaz, you know. You don't want to get hit by that volley.
Either way, Houston Outlaws stays alive. They will win Ilios.
Wow. So Houston Outlaws, their first step in a reverse sweep against the LA Gladiators, but now it gets real. They have to go to Route 66, a map that they have only won once in Overwatch League.
Yeah, beyond beating Dallas on that map, they had not even finished point B, but hey, links are starting to pop up. You never know what can happen. That pulse bomb was a delicious breakfast for Bijou. Well, don't go anywhere, guys. Map 4 coming up. See if Houston can tie up this series.
You've heard the shoutcasters, but now it's time to let your voice be heard. Because T-Mobile is giving fans the power to help select the first Overwatch League MVP on Twitter by using hashtag OWLMVP and your player's battle tag.
Welcome back, Blizzard Arena, and of course also everyone at home. During halftime, I just had to have a chat with the Houston Outlaws about that Torp pick, right? So they actually told me that this Mangechu-inspired strat is absolutely legit. Jake Bjorn is a thing. However, yeah, you know, like it doesn't always work out. You kind of have to know when to switch off of that Torp, and also they didn't lose Numbani because of the Torp pick. According to them, they just kind of screwed up the first point, and that's eventually why they lost on Numbani. However, moving forward, Route 66 is coming up next, and some of you might remember that I recently told you all that Houston Outlaws has not won a single game on that map. However, last week everything changed. They actually won the map, and their GM Flame proudly told me that this means they're now on a one-map winning streak. Yeah, that's right. And I mean, he's not wrong with that, so let's see if they can keep that momentum going.
Thanks, Zoe. I mean, yeah, he's not wrong. They do have a one-map win streak on Route 66, but again, you know, that was against Dallas. It wasn't against that Widowmaker on point A, a point that you brought up earlier. So this one may be a bit trickier, but I will say Linkser looked a lot better in the Widow v Widow versus Surefour on Ilios just now. So hey, anything can happen.
We also might see some more interesting strategies.
True.
I agree that the Torbjorn wasn't the reason why they lost. In fact, the Torbjorn was pretty smooth sailing through point B, and they did switch off at the right time.
They crushed it on B. I wonder if Jake has a list too, you know? Mangechu ask a list of people he kills with the Torb Hammer. Banny back in for Boink. And so Houston making a couple roster swaps to go into Route 66. But again, you know, to go back to the main sort of storyline with this map is that, yeah, although they did get that win on Dallas, before that they had not even taken point B on attack on this map. So it has been far and away their worst map. They're 1-6 on it overall. We'll see if they can improve that a bit today. They're going to need to if they want to stay alive in the series.
And as you were implying, the defense that the Dallas Fuel ran was a Sombra Tracer defense, which is outmoded on this point.
You don't see that much
the Sombra, ever since the changes to her ultimate not charging with the hacked health pack, does make a big difference. And there's the trail of crumbs that Buma is leaving.
Where does it lead?
To the, gingerbread house.
No. What? Yeah. How would it lead there? It's a ridiculous place for a little turret to lead to. I think it leads to the security room on Hollywood where all the Symmetras got their kills in the early days. I remember those days.
Those were fun days.
You get your play of the game and it's just you dying and running back from spawn while your turrets get kills. Yeah.
So it will be Linkser and Jake. Widowmaker and Tracer. Gladiators matching this composition. We so rarely see anything else on Route 66 through A and B. Only in C will we get some level of differentiation.
Yeah, Big Goose just checking with that Sonic Arrow to see if any of Houston are playing up pretty early here. All right. Oh, interesting. Fissure plays against Winston. When he plays Winston against the Outlaws, he takes a lot less damage.
Okay.
Oh, well, there you go.
The point blank snipe, that will get resurrected. There's not really a way you can prevent that from happening. It's
Surefour was reading that stat too.
It's a flashy kill.
Yeah.
It's a flashy kill.
Oh, Fissure over the top. A lot of damage coming in onto the tanks right now. Gladiators still pushing forward here. Fissure being very bold in his positioning. They have to worry about the dive though. Jake getting really low. Ooh, stays alive, but just barely. Muma not so lucky. Shaz finishes him. Now Surefour wanting to take that Widow v Widow. Ooh, needs to be very careful here. Oh, gets Raucous. Wow, and dodges the shot without even knowing it. Rez comes in, Jake nearly falls as well. So Houston Outlaws scrambling a little bit to keep people alive.
Yeah, it's a 6 versus 5 though. And with Surefour taking down Linkser, there will not be a resurrection onto the Outlaws Widowmaker.
Yep, that's right.
He's in that Valkyrie, but Asher will clean up Jake. And this should be point A.
That should be. There's a stick on the Coolmat just to get that DMAC. They definitely will. A little bit of a delay there from Raucous, sitting on the point, taking all the time he can. Muma a bit low as well. Muma has like no health left, gets it before he gets to that back.
Yeah, and that stagger is gonna hold the Outlaws back from any kind of point A defense.
Oh yeah.
And now the Gladiators will keep on moving through Route 66. Great time for them. Nearly 5 minutes to make it to the end of the streets phase.
I mean, that was a very quick point, That's a good start for the Gladiators. A lot of momentum going on to be here. Here's where the Widow battle really begins in earnest, too. You've got all these really long sight lines where it's the Widowmakers that are going to be dealing most of the damage, unless Fissure jumps on top of you and forces a Transcendence. That's the case for Raucus here, as Houston Outlaws playing a little bit far up, tried to be tricky there. The Gladiators having none of it. It's going to be Fissure with the Primal Rage to get away, but he may be able to pick up a kill into Jake with this. He does make something out of the ult at the very end.
Well, Jake was so far away from the rest of his team, everyone else was collapsing back onto Fissure. Fissure has the Primal Rage, he escapes, and it's Asher and Fissure who narrow down onto Jake on the side of the map and get the kill.
Oh, Raucus kind of around the back there. Oh, and Linkser tries to get away, but Surefour snipes him down, or rather vice versa. Linkser get the kill to Surefour. Big Goose there with the res, protected by Bishu. And now the Primal Rage from Muma as they try to go after Shaz here. Surefour down again. Gladiators may be in a bit of trouble here. Yep. They will need to go back to spawn and regroup.
So they will stall out. Everyone killed as they are retreating. Cool Matt holds on to his self-destruct. But a lot used on the side of the Outlaws. Banny will be coming back with a Valkyrie pretty soon. So Houston looks like they will be in a state of ultimate advantage for the time being, for the next push at the very least.
That's right. It's gonna have a lot of extra power coming into the next fight. If they can wield it properly, they'll come out with the win. Jake lurking, getting ready for that pulse pump. Oh, Asher. Uh-oh, look out.
He's got the orb on him. It's gonna be really hard. He wants to wait for this Zenyatta.
So sneaky. Oh my God. Sure. There's someone behind you. Look out. Oh, you don't want that backpack. It's going to take you to school.
Jake, the ultimate study in Tracer patience.
I know, right? Man, that was great. Houston Outlaws win the fight, needless to say, and 2:30 now for Gladiators. They have been stymied here on B.
Jake just shopping for his pulse bomb target.
No kidding. He's like, yeah.
Do I want this one?
Not too hard.
Nah. And he used the grappling. Okay, now he can't get away.
That's right. Easy choice there.
Easy choice.
Yep. That's right. Oh yeah. All right. Links are set up. Waiting for that jump from Surefour. He's not going to go for it just yet, though. It's like, where is he? Gladiators being very cautious here, taking a long time to set up this next fight. They've nearly got 6 ultimates, though. Linkser's like, I know he's popping up there. All right, finally emphasize. He's like, right there. What's he doing?
Waving to him.
Is he stuck? Okay, yeah, now Surefour moves. Okay, Surefour's like, yeah, all right, he knows. Fissure jumping in. They're like, all right, you want to see me coming? Here we go. I'm in. Big Goose, ooh, dodges those shots, or rather, Linkser not quite hitting him anyway. Houston Outlaws with a few ultimates left. Fissure with that Primal Rage. Gladiators committing a lot to get the payload moving again.
Yeah, but that Primal Rage doesn't do much, actually, on the side of the LA Gladiators.
Yeah, meanwhile, they're going to use both support ultimates to try to win this fight, but Raucus responding with his own tranquility, coming right back in again. Asher waiting for that pulse bomb. Just going to try to use that defensive matrix up before he gets a kill into Coolmat. Oh, he doesn't even need it. It's going to be the self-destruct from Coolmat. Can he remake, though? No, he goes in. There's a not stick onto that, but he does push Bonnie towards a little bit of damage from that. Linkser, meanwhile, cleaning up the fight in favor of Houston, but they do lose their mercy. So it's turned into a bit of a brawl here on B, and Gladiators grinding their way out of that one. But no, Muma comes back alongside of Raucus.
He saved that Primal Rage until the very end to clean up this fight, Noah.
Fantastic ultimate from Muma, and that's going to save the day for the Outlaws, no doubt.
Yeah, they get Big Goose too. That patience from Muma, the patience of the Outlaws in full display on Route 66B. And in spite of every team dropping all of their ultimates, Houston is going to hold. And they've got one last defense. Gladiators will have a shot. They're going to have a trance. But they have to come through this infra site, and that's going to be tough.
Well, I mean, they're going to have their own infra site pretty soon, too. Muma, though, looping around behind. Raucus gets a kill into Fissure already, though.
Fissure didn't use Primal.
Oh, no, that is disaster. Can anyone even get there? Just barely, but Surefour and Asher already down. It should be an easy cleanup for Houston. Asher back up again. Big Goose down. They're going to need a miracle to win this one and keep the payload going. Fissure comes back. He's got the Primal Rage. He can use it to delay. He is going to use it, but he needs to knock nearly everybody off the edge of the map, and he's not going to be able to do quite that. Nope. Don't think so. Raucus with the kill. GG, Houston Outlaws with a great hold.
Fissure didn't realize how fast he was going to be burst down by Raucus. Had the Discord Orb on him. And we're going to take a look at Raucus at the end of the map.
Being his...
Discord Orb already up, and he's going to walk through the barrier, gets headshot.
I don't know. That was a little bit of a reach for Fissure there.
He was already damaged coming in, and I think he could have made it work, but he had to pop the Primal sooner than he did.
I guess. Either way, the Gladiators going to be disappointed with their results on attack here. Only that 1 point. And Houston Outlaws, maybe Flame's right. Maybe the curse is broken.
Well, I mean, let's hold off, okay? Outlaws notoriously poor on attack on this map.
Killer Monte Cristo.
But I think that if Fissure had used the Primal, because the thing is, by Raucus getting that kill, he charged his trance up and was able to return to the fight and use the Transcendence.
Sure.
If the Primal's popped and Raucus is pushed back, he's not going to get back to that card in time, and maybe the Gladiators can push forward. It's a pretty consequential ultimate not to have used.
And that is kind of Fissure's specialty too with the Primal Rage. I mean, if you look at a lot of these games, most of the time when he's primaling, he's like batting the supports away from the rest of the fight and helping his team get a 5v4 advantage with no healing.
So I wonder if Muma is going to go with the Orisa or not. I would like that here because having the attack second means you know exactly how far you have to go. And if you can just slowly grind this out, you don't have to make very fast speed, but if you're making consistent movement with the payload, which you can by setting up a hard point on the cart, and forcing them to throw people there to just slow it down because it doesn't have to go very far, then I think maybe you can do something. But nope, I will not get my wish, Muma. Back to the Winston.
Can't always get what you want, Monte Cristo. But if you try sometime, oh, never mind. The match is starting. Gladiators shields up indeed as they need to have a pretty big defense to try to win this series.
And I love that Jake's been doing that in the last couple of maps. On these Widow maps on attack, he will briefly switch to Zarya and then use the projected barrier to give Linkser a free shot. It punishes anyone who's being greedy, peeking into the spawn, and trying to get a quick snipe.
Yeah, that is a big one. Just keeping your Widow a little bit safer. You never know when you're going to get that pick and get a big advantage right as you start off. Meanwhile, Shaz down. Big advantage for Houston immediately. Somehow they're going to get the dive onto the Zen.
Yeah, Big Goose is not going to be able to res this either.
Well, Fissure's down too. Surefour gets Muma, but it's still an edge for the Outlaws until Asher finds Jake. So maybe they've got a chance to push this one back again, but I don't know, man. I think they've lost too many already. Bishu delaying this payload for a long time, though. It finally starts moving.
Yeah, not with Muma being resurrected. He was died on the corner of Big Earl, so Banny had the cover to get the resurrection. However, Gladiators will be back in time to mount another defense and attempt to slow this payload.
That's right. One last defense here on point A for the Gladiators. If they can get there in time, they should be able to barely reach it. They do. Houston falls back in anticipation, getting set up for a nice kill onto Asher. Oh, but Surefour right there with the revenge. Big Goose has the res, though, onto Asher, so they're back into it again. Jake, though, caught. Meanwhile, Coolmat trying to hold strong on the point against the majority of the Gladiators. He's going to go in. He's going to have to back away, though. He's loading some damage onto Shaz, but Surefour finds a pick onto Bonnie. Comes out. Coolmat using that ultimate to get back into his mech. It's going to be Shaz using the Transcendence to try to tip the fight in the Gladiators' favor. The payload moved a little bit. They got to stay on the payload to try to stop it. Pulse Bomb goes in. No kills for Jake, though, but Surefour and Shaz fall either way. Lynx are getting 2, and Houston, again, just kind of grinding this fight out.
And with the later Primal Rage, Fissure is going to clean this one up. Linkser has been punted all the way back to spawn. Muma trying to stay alive, gets a little bit of healing. And he has Coolmat on his tail to provide some more defense. Fissure may have overextended. He did. He was trying to kill Linkser. Linkser now is respawned.
Oh, man, and that's going to be a 6v5 in favor of Houston. That was a crucial error by Fissure to go that deep to try to finish off Muma.
Yeah, Linkser still making his way over as the Gladiators back off towards the payload. Banny's going to use the Valkyrie.
Yeah, they've got that Mercy ultimate to use. That's going to give them an edge as well. Just a delay coming in. Shaz down, though. Cool Matt, or rather Bishu, not able to do enough. Meanwhile, Jake trying to find the kill onto Surefour, dueling it out and has to pop that recall. Surefour ducking and weaving, trying to go back towards the health pack, but he can't make it. Houston Outlaws, meanwhile, back on the payload, winning the fight handily, and they'll finally take A. So a bit of a delay for Gladiators, but it's still going to be 3.5 minutes for Houston to finish this map.
Yeah, Fissure overplayed his hand into the Outlaws spawn and gets caught in the end, got the kill, but the proximity of the spawn means it's much more meaningful for that trade to go to the Houston Outlaws. Cool Matt, not at 100% yet of his mech.
Yep. Oh, Jake being really aggressive here. Getting behind Shaz here. This could be a problem. Shaz got the protection from Bishu, though. Bishu turning at just the right moment to protect his end. They still know he's back there. Nice stick! Oh, Bonnie and Shaz both down. Or Big Goose, rather, and Shaz both down. Linkser finds one. Jake combines for the other one. Houston getting a lot of distance on this payload. This map is already near over. Gladiators need to get back there and defend, but it's going to be tough to get past Muma.
And they've got a Transcendence, but so do the Outlaws. And the Outlaws have the self-destructive Primal Rage. It is so hard to defend the payload when they can zone you off with these two tank ults.
The Transcendence had to be used. Shaz jetting in there with the Zen ultimate to try to keep people up, but it doesn't help. Jake and Asher, or Jake and Raucus both finding kills. Cool Matt with the self-destruct, and now it's only Bishu on the point right now. Fissure trying to keep zoning people. They gotta get back there.
You have to get on the point.
No! And Houston Outlaws will win Route 66. We are going to Game 5.
They didn't take 2 points though, Noah, but they didn't need it. They didn't need to make it to the end of B.
It's a good point, but I think Houston's okay with this situation.
I think they are too. And the Houston Outlaws reverse sweep stays alive. Gladiators have yet another chance on Oasis to put it away.
Indeed, the reverse sweep is real, man. We are going to Oasis after we get back map number 5. We'll see who takes it right after this.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League. Intel, the official computer processor of the Overwatch League. And by T-Mobile, America's fastest network ever.
Gladiators have crushed this first attack. Wow, really aggressive defense for Houston.
Oh boy.
We told you this match was going to be epic, and so far it has lived up to the hype.
Hype indeed, as we are going to Oasis for a tiebreaker map 5 between the LA Gladiators and the Houston Outlaws. Now, this happened before in stage 2. Gladiators came out with the win then. A little bit of weird action, a lot of swaps on Ilios. But this time we're going to Oasis, and that means hydration is coming in for the first time this series for the Gladiators.
The drought is over, Doa. We didn't expect to see hydration on the first 4 maps of this series based on who the Gladiators have liked to play on this map pool previously. But with hydration coming in for sure 4, it does make a lot of sense. And the reason why is they want the flexibility between the Sombra and the Junkrat. And hydration offers the highest level of play on both of those 2 heroes compared to Surefour, because that's what we're seeing a lot of on Oasis right now. Junkrat on University, Sombra Tracer on many of those other points. And coming off that game versus London, Hydration Sombra looked real good.
Yeah, it did. And I mean, you add to that all the other tools that Gladiators has on a point like University especially, and they're a scary opponent when it comes to Oasis.
Yeah, and we saw nearly this exact same scenario play out earlier this week against London. Gladiators dominating the first 2 maps, getting pushed on exactly Ilios and Route 66.
True.
Same maps to the brink on map 5. They come back and they win Oasis. They win the series. Can the Gladiators do it for a second time, dodge the reverse sweep?
Second time in a week even.
Yeah.
Which is not something you have to deal with a whole lot, but if you are the Gladiators, something that apparently you do.
And both of these teams are about 50%. Houston Outlaws 50%. Gladiators 4 and 5 on Oasis. So I think it really is just a coin toss right now.
Yep. I agree. You can't really look at the stats and tell who's got the edge coming into this one so much. You only can really look at the compositions and what's been working for these 2 teams.
And what I like about what the Houston Outlaws are doing is they're very aware now, having seen the match earlier this week, that it will be hydration on Sombra here on City Center. And the answer to that is going to be Linkser on the McCree.
Right. We've seen Linkser do quite well on that. Hydration will need to be ready, and it's going to actually be the Lucio Moira for the Gladiators as well. Big Goose not swapping away. So this is something we're seeing more and more in control maps, especially when it comes to the Sombra compositions.
Yeah, this is a close-range, brawling composition, but little room for error without a Mercy Resurrection.
Yeah.
They're going to have to jump right into the front and start contesting this point. Hydration goes invisible. He wants that hack.
Yeah, and he's going to get in there too. Sneaking around behind, and he's going to get some help from the dive from Fissure. Rocket's down already. Goes for the hack on Coolmat, but gets denied. Going to translocate back up there again. Houston, though, they're going to, nearly claim the point first. Bonnie goes for the res. He brings Rockets back up, but at the cost of his own life. And Gladiators are going to come back in a big way in this fight.
That's just a beautiful dive by Hydration, Fissure, and Asher.
Yeah.
Look how picture perfect the timing was onto the back line. 3 people descend all at once, and there is no defense from the Houston Outlaws. Raucus, the unlucky member of Houston, caught out, and the first percent will go to the Gladiators.
Houston Outlaws have to find a way to attack the point now, and Asher, we've seen so many sneaky tracers lately. Waiting to try to get behind the supports. Oh, Jake finds them though, the dive coming in. They're gonna try to go hard on the back line of Houston. The pulse bomb goes in, finds Raucus. He was a bit too close. It wasn't a stick. Raucus brought back up though, once again by the res, but now the res out. Meanwhile, Coalescence used by Shaz. Gotta watch out for the Deadeye from Linkser, but he will keep the tanks pretty healthy and fades to get back to his team. That's kind of the thing about Moira, is that she can escape pretty well, but if that fade is on cooldown, you're a bit of a sitting duck.
And now everybody back, so sound barrier invested.
And meanwhile, Gladiators do take the point back again. Houston got a little bit, but Gladiators have it now, and they are winning this fight. Hydration deciding, do I need to use the EMP here? I don't think so. You've got Fissure keeping everybody locked up for you. Oh, and then you're dead. But your team following through. And they will be able to win it. Bondi gets a res though, and now he's going to be in traffic. That's a dangerous spot. Shaz though gets him with the orb of, or the biotic orb, I believe that's called.
Yeah, they do pick up the kill at the end around the corner. Banny trying to escape, but instead gets staggered. And Gladiators absolutely dominating City Center to this point. And with 3 ults on the board and a Coalescence coming up soon, Raucus is going to have to get good value out of this trance if they want to win.
Yeah. Hydration coming in, and EMP could seal the deal here on City Center. He's going to go ahead and wait for it, just poking on the Bandy. He can go back with the translocator. And can wait for that EMP either way, just distracting Houston there. Now it's time to ult. They go ahead and use the Transcendence. Pulse Bomb comes in, does damage, but no kills. Jake down though. Big Goose found the finishing blow. Gonna jump on Coolmat, gets EMP'd right as he gets back in the mech. Meanwhile, Jake does find the kill on Shaz, but Bishu gets Muma. There goes the mech on Coolmat as well. And Gladiators coming out big in this fight. Bonnie gets electrocuted as he tries to go for the res. Not gonna work, and that's gonna be City Center going the way of the Gladiators. They are 1 round away from denying the reverse sweep.
And the Gladiators are just so good at running this composition. They know the trance is going to be there. So what do? Dive in, go ahead and force it out. They play a little bit of a mind game on the approach with the Sombra to try and scare the trance out of him, but they have a backup plan after that. Go in with the dive, and then just hold. You're already at 99%. Hold the EMP, wait for them to come to you with no support ultimates, and clean him up. That was great execution.
And here's a matchup that I'm pretty excited about now. We are going to University for our second point. We're going to get the Jake Rat versus Hydration on the same hero, and that's going to be a pretty good mirror.
But guess what, Doa? Vizier's Reinhardt is back. How many times have we seen him sneaking around the point for crazy Earth Shatters on University?
He's incredibly good on this hero. He was known for it before Winston became the big name.
Okay, goodbye, Jake.
But Jake just goes ahead and takes the dive immediately, removed from the map before the point really even begins.
All the members of the Gladiators piling around the corner onto the high ground. He is going to be back with the team, but Muma getting hooked is the disaster. He would have been there by the time the control point unlocked rather. Instead, Muma gets staggered, and that's it. Control goes to the Gladiators.
Yep, that's right. Gladiators still going with the Lucio Moira defense. Again, you've got a lot of people close together. You've got a good way to take advantage of the speed from Lucio and the AoE healing from the Moira.
Also, you know the Riptire's coming, and it's way easier with the Moira to get away from the Riptire. You are not definitely a sitting duck.
Yeah, Asher firing some shots, waiting for a chance at the hook. Hooking a Tracer is tricky, but you can get it done sometimes. Sometimes you just need a shot too. Yeah, that's the thing. If you get 2 shots on a Tracer that close, she's gone. Asher looking really good on that Roadhog. Houston Outlaws struggling to get to the point right now. And I love how safe Asher is playing. He's not going for these fancy hooks. He's not trying to flank while his team is pushing him through the other door. He's being safe.
The Gladiators are destroying the Houston Outlaws based on these picks right now. Houston has not even had a legitimate attack round yet because they've always been a player down, it seems.
Yeah. It's been very coordinated, very methodical from the Gladiators at this point. Coalescence used, they're going to get aggressive now, and that's going to cause the Transcendence to come out. That's going to be Houston trying to advance on the point, getting something out of the Zen ultimate. They do get Shaz. Jake finally gets a kill, but now the Riptire coming in from Hydration. Ooh, gets denied. Raucus and Linkser finding kills too, and it looks like Houston will be able to flip this.
Maybe a bit of an overextension there on the side of the Gladiators.
Definitely.
Because not only that, Coalescence is gone, Self-Destruct is gone, Riptire is gone for them.
I mean, right as I talk about how safe and methodical they're playing. You know.
There's still an opening though, right? If you do hit a big Earth Shatter here, there's not going to be a support ult to save the Houston Outlaws at all. They had to use the Trance and the Valkyrie.
Yeah, but Shaz down again. Raucus finds the pick, and Gladiators are going to really need to wait to assault this one.
Now that's the downside. You get hit by a damage boosted volley. There's no mercy to get the resurrection. You just have to wait.
Yep. The nice thing for Gladiators is that they are going to come into this one with 3 ultimates now. They're going to have that Earth Shatter very soon for Fissure. They've already got Ashers and Big Gooses right now.
Jake needs to use this tire, but the sound barrier should be out. How long is Big Goose going to wait?
We will see. Going in.
Nice job by Fissure with the shield.
Yeah, he denied a lot of that damage. Bandy down though. Asher finds the kill. So already Houston Outlaws without their mercy. Sound barrier used to try to help Gladiators secure this one, but they do lose their Roadhog. Now the self-destruct comes in. Fissure booped, but he manages to get the shield between him and the explosion. Hydration down. Jake finds a 1v1. Junkrat success. Meanwhile, Gladiators nearly flipping it, but Houston winning the fight. They're going to have to back away.
Yeah, Fissure wants to come back in with the Earth Shatter instead. He sees that Shaz is close to Coalescence, which means he can run at them with the Earth Shatter. He won't have to use his shield. He'll have much better positioning as a result.
It is time. Bishu's going to have his ultimate soon. Gladiators on the point. They really need to take this one right here, right now, if they want to get a 2-0 here on Oasis. Swinging away. He's no fraggy, but he's still holding that left click. They do get the flip back. Whoa! And now the Riptire comes in. No kills from that one. The Coalescence keeps Fissure alive. Where's the Earth Shatter? He's getting ready to use it. There it is. Denied a little bit of the damage with the Transcendence. Rocket's keeping people alive, but Hydration comes back with a main tank kill with the Riptire. Nice hook onto Coolmat. Gonna set up another one for Asher. That's the D-Mac onto the Diva. They couldn't get enough Mercy healing onto him, but Rockets comes back. That's actually going to be Houston flipping the point again. It has been so back and forth, but Houston over 90% now.
And Muma died in a room on a side, so it was all too easy for Banny to resurrect him. Now it's the desperation push. Linkster's going to D-Mech Bishu, but they have a sound barrier.
That's right, Hydration even over onto the Doomfist to just try to get something done, but they've already lost Fissure. 99% for the Outlaws. They're on the verge of tying this one up. Gonna be very close. Big Goose is trying to delay, but you can only last for so long. Houston winning this fight, dominating this round, and we are going to Gardens, the final round on the final map in this series.
Well, we thought this was going to be close, Noah. How could it be closer? Third point on our tiebreaker map. But this is scary for the Outlaws, and it is good for the Gladiators because the Gladiators proved so efficient at using Tracer Sombra on City Center. They will use it again here.
Yep, makes sense.
Houston really could never stop them, even with Linkster on the McCree. So I think the Gladiators are going to be confident trying to close out this map.
I feel like the Gladiators are a little bit more evolved in their compositions too on this map too, to go for the Lucio, Moira, Sombra. That's something that we saw a lot in Contenders Korea when they were a bit ahead in the meta, a bit ahead in the patches of Overwatch League. And now the Gladiators, one of the few teams to really start utilizing this to great success.
And the Outlaws say, to hell with it, we're going with the Jake Rat, and they have the Mercy. So again, no Moira, but perhaps they can get the reses down. Otherwise, Gladiators want to stay balled up. Fissure is going to stay dead, though.
Yeah, but Asher comes back for the kill onto Linkster. It's 1 for 1 so far. A Big Goose and Rock is falling too. Still 2 for 2 now. Jake, though, on the high ground, unassailable. But Bonnie gets knocked off. Didn't survive. Houston without any supports left. The DPS need to come through. Jake and Muma trying to do it. Coolmat's still there as well, although now he's without his mech, and Bishu just charging forward. 2 kills with that one. And it looks like Gladiators will get some control percent building early.
Asher was the reason Banny fell off. Banny was trying to fall off the map, but Asher pursued him over the side and then recalled to make sure he's going to die. See, can't get back up right now.
Really nice.
Very nicely done by Asher, who has turned up in a big way tonight.
Yeah. All right, so Gladiators, they've got the point, now they need to hold it. Houston Outlaws not want to allow that. They're going to get aggressive again. Muma taking a lot of damage here. Providing some healing, though, to get his support ultimates on his side up. Coolmat a little bit on his own, tried to get up on the high ground. Gets the mech, though. That is big. Asher, Linkster comes in with the melee, but Shaz right there for the revenge. And Gladiators grind this fight out. They did lose a few people, though, so if Houston rushes, maybe they can get something done here, but that's a nasty stagger, though, onto Jake.
Yeah, there was nothing they could really do after the Gladiators herded them into the corridor. Asher was on the opposite side, deploying the Pulse Bomb. They do now have a Riptire, which they can use to open this fight. Hydration sitting on the EMP.
Yep, here comes the Riptire from Jake. See what he can find with it. Looking for some kills. No, Bishu's just going to take it down. Nearly running it over. Flashbang onto Bishu, but guess what, man? You need a bit more than that. Links are feeling it from the Diva. Gladiators defending pretty well against Houston. Houston, I think it's time to clean this one up and come back with some more ultimates. Coolmat going to get his mech back here. They lose Muma, though.
Oh boy, that was a big EMP from Hydration. Vanny swooped in, thinking he was going to resurrect Muma, and instead got hacked, so there is not going to be a resurrection.
That said, though, Fissure and Asher rushing to get back to the point to defend. Houston Outlaws getting aggressive, using ultimates. Linkser with the high noon. That's a pulse bomb. Not close enough to scare him, though. He gets hacked. Could be in a bit of trouble, but he's back to safety now. Fissure with the Primal Rage. Going deep, Bishu along with him. They get the kill onto Jake, but Linkser returns fire onto Fissure. Houston Outlaws scrambling. The match is on the line here. 99% for Gladiators already. Jake gets res. They get the kill onto Big Goose too. Shaz with the Coalescence. He's going to use it. Oh, but nice flashbang. Going to get denied here. Heals himself, but Houston Outlaws will finally flip the point.
Yes, finally Doa at 99. Houston now has the task to run it all the way back. Gladiators, no support ults, but they do have the EMP. An EMP on the tank line could be a quick fight win for the Gladiators.
Well, we see this so often on Gardens. The last moment, the team that's behind gets the point. Can they defend it up to 99% though? That's where the hard part comes in. Jake just wants to buy some time with this Riptire.
And just parkouring it as long as he can. Nobody's going to be in range. And instead, they will get some more support ult charge as Bishu is healed up.
Yep. Asher down, so. Ooh, Muma, he found that translocator. Hydration on the run. Can he get the health back? No, he got another transponder. You know what I'm talking about.
I do.
The teleporting thingy. Yeah.
So Coolmat's still running scout here. Thanks to the shots from Linkser, they're going to get more time. 60% now for the Outlaws, but they still have to win a couple more fights, and Gladiators just building up those ults.
Yeah, again, you know, I mean, when it gets flipped at 99, it's the team with 99%. You've got some luxury there. EMP maybe? No, yeah, Raucus feels it. Healing comes in. They can't keep him alive, though. They can't keep anyone alive, and there's a hack onto the Mercy during Bonnie's ultimate.
But Linkser, double Deadeye!
What? Deadeye comes in, and Linkser trying to turn this one around for the Houston Outlaws. Muma gets res. They've got a shot. Shaz just trying to keep people alive with that Moira, but he's nearly out of healing right now. Trying to build up some more on the tanks. They've got the sound barrier. We're into OT as the Gladiators did flip the point back during all of that. Shaz, though, damage onto Bonnie. That's a problem. Both supports down. The Gladiators may have it. All they need to do is remove the tanks and the DPS from Houston. There's one of them. Jake, the DPS, down. And now it's just 3 versus 4 on the point right now. More. Linkser out of it. OT ticking away.
That's gonna be it.
The LA Gladiators. 2 reverse sweeps denied in 1 week. They are kind of the kings of Game 5 here.
They are looking excellent with this Sombra. Hydration's hacks were so good on Oasis. Doesn't play the entire series, comes in the 5th match and delivers a win for LA.
And again, that's such a huge series for them to win, where the playoff hunt is really kind of entering full swing here as we get towards the end of week 4. Every win becomes very, very crucial, especially against a team like Houston that they were tied with before just now.
Absolutely, Noah.
Wow, well, let's send it over to the desk to hear what they've got to say about those games.
Thank you so much, fellas. First of all, can we give it up for the observing team? They crushed it in this series. Game 5, it went the distance, and what a series we had today. It's Pucky here at the desk. We've got Bren, we've got Sideshow, and let's jump right into it, guys. We got to go back to game number 3. Actually, before that, let's update everyone at home, because this was a big matchup as we look at the Stage 3 standings. Gladiators are staying in the top 4. Houston drops down from that 5th place down to 7. And you have to think, is LA Gladiators going to be competing next week? They got Ford ahead of them, and then eventually Boston in match number 10.
It looks really likely that LA Gladiators might be able to clinch one of these Stage 3 playoff spots. Valiant have got a really tough week. They have to play against Philly and Boston. They're not really the favorites for either of those matches, perhaps, so Gladiators could be in a great position for their first playoff spot.
It's pretty crazy stuff. We get a chance to see the Valiant in just a bit, but right now it's all about the Gladiators. So let's go into the games, though, because Houston in the second half, showing some life, took us the distance.
They were so close close, really, to securing that reverse sweep, and it all started here on Ilios in particular. And I gotta say, they stubbed in Clockwork as well. This man, he
was
flexed
playing
over to
Mystery
so
Heroes.
many different heroes. Exactly, he's playing Mystery Heroes, mate. He was coming in on Afara, he switched to the Sombra, switched up to the Tracer. Junkrat at some point.
Oh.
He was playing a lot of different heroes, and Houston managed to clinch it out with help from Linkser, really. Linkser was the man of the match in that point, and he absolutely dominated on the Widowmaker.
Ankle shot.
He played an incredible match throughout this particular map, as well as Route 66 as well. He played unreal.
Yeah, Route 66 in particular, Linkser was going crazy. And it really feels like when he's on form, when he's playing his best, he finds picks all over the place. And the Houston Outlaws make great use of both the space and the numbers advantage that he gives them in these fights. He was hitting some banana stuff and then completely shut down the LA Gladiators there. Houston Outlaws are not good at Route 66 in general. They won it for, was it the first time?
The other days ago, but they had a 14% win rate on this map before this series, and they ended up winning it as well. But all the odds were against them in that one map.
Yeah, but I love Flame's attitude towards it. You know, he's won the last time that he won Route 66. He's like, we're on a win streak. We're on a win streak, guys.
1-0.
Well, they've now made that 1-0 into a 2-0 over the last week. So I think they are actually a competent team on Route 66 now.
Stage 4, week 4. They're pretty good at it, and the whole team was fired up. If you're a Houston fan, you're going to love this sounds of the game, brought to you by Muma.
We are actually playing like some of the best Overwatch we've ever played, like ever. So just keep level-headed and like keep calling like we are now. And I promise you, like, not only will we win this map, we're actually going to win the Overwatch League if we keep playing like we are right now.
I'm actually like, feeling good.
It's awesome to have a guy like that on your team. Get everyone focused, get that positive momentum. Unfortunately for the Outlaws, it couldn't carry over into a Game 5 that, honestly, it couldn't have been closer.
It was so close. Almost impossible to predict how this series would have gone from at the beginning. And then it goes, as Monty said, right the distance all the way to a Game 5, or rather Stage 3 of the Game 5. And the Houston Outlaws on this stage in particular, City Center, really struggled with the Sombra Tracer. Yeah. It seems like the most powerful composition for that map. And then it looked like LA Gladiators were going to close it out in 2 immediately with this triple tank that took control of the point forever.
I was very impressed with the way Houston managed to slightly turn this one around in the second round, and in this third and final round, oh my days. We were like on the edge of our seats with this Overwatch. It was so hard to tell which way and which direction it was going. Houston were playing, honestly, very, very well around the Sombra. I think this is one of the weak points of Houston, is they don't really know how to play around some of these Sombra compositions. But in that final round, they were pre-firing the corners, trying to take Hydration out of his invisibility to try and take him out a lot of the times. But unfortunately, was not enough. I think like better ult economy was coming out from the side of Gladiators in the end, because again, you can build up the coalescence on Moira because you build up that ult so quickly. It was almost every team fight Shaz had one available to him.
At the end of the day, though, as well, you've got to give credit to Hydration. Comes in cold, fifth map, and he's playing the Sombra that well and so coordinated with the rest of his team. And yes, the Houston Outlaws did well at trying to shut him down in key situations, but they still got the win, and that Sombra was a big part of it. So you've got to give credit to Hydration.
2 Game 5s this week for the Gladiators. They get it done against London and against Houston today. The question I have is, who's the MVP for the Gladiators? Our player of the match, sponsored by Omen by HP, is...
It's Fisher. Mate. It's gotta be.
It's gotta be Fisher. The most handsome, the greatest main tank of all time.
The
best in the world. Who is better than Fisher? Absolutely nobody.
Nobody. He had a fantastic performance. What I loved about this as well is that they were putting so much pressure on Fact Fiction and Muma that Fisher was able to collapse back on top of the tanks whenever they tried to escape and was getting a lot of these key picks. He was actually finishing off, as you can see there, a lot of the kills onto Muma and Fact Fiction, just really dominating that tank v tank matchup.
Slam this game home for them realistically, and again, we always talk about Fisher when we talk about Gladiators, how much he's done for this team, and it just showed itself. Again, once in this game, he comes in, he's got such a presence about him, the way he can take control of a game and be that commanding and build around his team, the fact that they were allowing him to create so much space, you know, in turns for each other. All in all, I gotta say, super impressive game, super hype game as well. Definitely one for the season.
It's pretty amazing stuff, and I think the coolest stat there on the Fisher card was 316 times Houston players crap their pants as you have a big monkey in your face. Fisher knocking everybody back. Gladiators get 2 wins this week. They're still in the playoff hunt. When we come back, though, we'll find out, will the LA Valiant be able to match it with a win of their own? They face off against the Mayhem when we return.
Kämpfen wir.